you gonna stay in the kitchen, or are you gonna come back and say goodnight? Lonely Guy is also a great
Good
call.
night.
Say again. Say it again. I know, but I came back.
Good night.
Say it one more time.
Good night.
No, come back and say it. Like, come back to the thing.
Good night.
All right. I'll end it there.
God damn. This is insane.
I like. There's somebody with the name in the chat. His name is Defiant P. I love that. That's great.
Hey.
TomB, read off a title once. I can't remember it off the top of my head. What title are you talking about?
Are you still on there? Get the fuck off.
Yeah, I'm still on, but you're not. I turned off the camera.
Get off.
I'm tempted to show you a picture of Charles Grodin because I know you know who he is.
Telling me or the fans?
No, I'm talking to you. I can't believe you don't know who Charles Grodin is.
See,
Do you remember the Warren? Do you remember the Warren Beatty movie Heaven Can Wait, where he's the football player who gets put into an?
Care.
You care
I'm
about
very busy with this crap.
you care about every. Do you have you might have his signature in that book.
No, I don't.
My favorite Charles Grodin movie is Midnight Run by far and away. I've actually never seen Clifford. Clifford came out like kind of after my time. What's my favorite music genre? I don't know. It changes. I like. I don't know. I like punk. I like post punk. I like some alternative. I like Britpop in the '90s. I like guitar rock, basically singer songwriter stuff. Anyway, good stream tonight, Perry. We'll see everybody on Friday. Okay.
Yeah, if we make it.
You will. We'll make it. You did a good job.
I can make it before anyone.
All right, I'm gonna sign you. I'm gonna sign you out, Perry. Good night. Okay, he's gone. All right, guys. I'll say goodnight. And by the way, I'll watch Clifford straight. I always thought Clifford was kind of a kids movie, but I'll watch it for Grodin. It's funny. Grodin's one of those guys too. Like for people that listened to Howard Stern in the '90s, like Howard railed against Charles Grodin. I think because I don't know if I have my story straight, but I think Grodin went off on Stern because Grodin had a show on CNBC, like a commentary program, and came after Stern, and then Stern went after him really hard. And again, I was indoctrinated into Stern, where anything he said goes, and he almost got me to not like Grodin for a little while. I still always liked his previous stuff, but I was like, oh, maybe Grodin's a bad guy. That's how powerful Stern was. But then it was one of the first things, like, yeah, I'm not really with you on this one, Howard. Grodin's too good. Block for Life asks, what are my thoughts on the Dan Aykroyd movie Nothing But Trouble? I got a lot of thoughts on that movie, actually. I used to date a girl who loved that movie. Like, it was her family movie. Like, everybody in her family liked it. It was very bizarre. I think it's tough. I saw it when it came out, and I hated it. I thought it was terrible. And over the years, I've come around to kind of thinking that it's kind of a genius film in a way. It's got a lot of flaws, but it's got a lot of good. It's got a lot of good in it. So I haven't seen it with adult eyes in a long time. It used to be on HBO like all the time in the 90s, to the point where we were sick to death of it. HBO had a way of doing that. They'd run a movie to the ground. So I'd have to watch it again, but I kind of like it, and I've come around on it because I used to hate it. Yeah, I would say I'm with this guy David. He says it's the worst movie he ever saw in the theater. I saw it in the theater and I fucking hated it. But sometimes you look. Yeah, I like Happy Mondays. But yeah, but then I've seen a lot of things on it. Like I've seen YouTube things on it. Uh, Nothing but trouble. I mean, and sometimes your opinion can shift a little bit because when you see it in small doses, like clips, you're like, it's so weird and it's so crazy that it's good. And you think of the cast that's in it. You got John Candy, Chevy Chase, and Dan Aykroyd in the same movie, and I don't know. Yeah, how can you not like it? Really, it's again. I'd have to see it again to give you a full dissertation. Uh, I've not seen 24 Hour Party People. No, you saw it in a crappy theater on Main. I know that crappy theater on Main Street in Flushing. I saw a lot of movies at that theater. I saw Mortal Kombat in that theater opening night. I also saw the Jerky Boys movie in that theater opening night. It was a crappy theater, but it always had good crowds. It was kind of rowdy. I always liked that theater. It's not. I can't imagine it still being there. Yeah, it was the beginning and the end of Chevy's career because I think the end of his career was The Invisible Man, which came out about a year later. But it was after his run. Chevy had a good run, and that was definitely yeah. Demi Moore's good in it as well, but I don't put her in the league of like Aykroyd, Chevy Chase, John Candy. She's good in it, but yeah, Mortal Kombat did suck, but it was a big deal when it came out. It was the whole crowd was like fired up when that movie. There's certain movies that are just like opening night movies. You go in like a crowded theater, and the whole place is just jazzed, and it kind of elevates the material. And Mortal Kombat, the original Mortal Kombat was one of those movies. It was like we saw it like I forget like on a Friday night, like 9 p.m. show. The place was jammed. People people were like drinking and shit. And when that movie came on, it was just it was insane. It was one of the most it was maybe my most fun experience in a theater seeing a bad movie. Skip this movie talk unless we agree 300 was the greatest movie ever made. No, 300 is garbage. 300 is fucking garbage. I only saw it once when it came out, but I just, yeah, 300. That's when I knew that Zack Snyder was not the greatest director and not the best guy to be handling the DC property. But then again, I only saw it when it came out, and maybe I'd have to see it again. Sin City thoughts again. Another movie I saw. I saw it when it came out in the theater. I saw it once in the theater. I've never seen it again, but I remember liking it at the time. You had the same experience. You had the same experience with Waterboy, where it was like an opening night movie, and then you you like. I saw Waterboy in the theater, but it wasn't opening night. It was like a couple of weeks after it came out, and the only reason I saw Waterboy was they showed the trailer for Star Wars Episode One before Waterboy, and that was like November '98, and the movie wasn't coming out until May. So it was the only way. This is before YouTube. Before YouTube, before you could see trailers online, which seems so foreign now, but you actually had to go to the movies to see Waterboy, and there was like two or three movies that the trailer was definitely attached to. Waterboy was one, and then there was that Brad Pitt movie with Anthony Hopkins. I can't think of the name of it, but I remember we worked out the times in the theater, and we would just sneak into the different movies at the times where the movies would start just to see the Episode 1 trailer. I never saw the second Sin City, and I never saw the 300 spoof. I like Uncle Buck, but Uncle Buck's it's a weird thing with Uncle Buck because again, you can look this up on YouTube. There's a lot of stuff about it, but Uncle Buck was like twice the length of the theatrical version, and there's a lot of shots. It's one of those movies that has a lot of shots in the trailer that never made it into the movie. And I've always wanted to see the original cut of that because apparently like there's a longer cut of Uncle Buck that's just never been seen, and there's a lot of like little story arcs that got cut out, probably at the request of the studio. So I feel like that would Great sequel you never mentioned, but it's better than the original Superman 2. I gotta disagree with you, Mark. I think Superman 2 is inferior to the original. I used to think that. I used to think Superman 2 was better when I was a kid. But if you compare Superman the movie to Superman 2, to me, there's no question what the better movie is. And I don't like the Donner cut either. But I like Superman 2, but it gets a little too campy for me. It's not as grounded as the first movie. Rate Back to the Future in order. We've had this discussion. It's Back to the Future, and the other two movies are fine. But the Back to the Future is one. I don't even like calling it Back to the Future. Just Back to the Future doesn't belong in the same category as the other two. It's so far superior. Back to the Future 2 and 3 are fine epilogues, but it doesn't work as a trilogy for me. It's like an extension of something you love, but you're fine with just the first one. Legends of the Fall. That was the movie I was thinking about. Yeah, so Episode 1 was attached to Legends of the Fall and Uncle Buck, not Uncle Buck, and Waterboy, and maybe one other movie. Yeah, Terminator 2 was a sequel that was better than the first. Yeah, that's not a hot take. I think everybody will agree with you. Absolutely. You finally saw it. You know, it's funny. I always thought this. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles would make a great double feature with Midnight Run. They both came out about a year apart. I think Planes, Trains, and Automobiles came out in like November '87. And then Midnight Run came out in the summer of '88. So they came out within 6 months of each other pretty much. And boy, would that make a great double feature. Like two different movies, but two similar movies where like two people are kind of thrown together and they have to travel across the country through various means. Both are movies that aren't made anymore. You know, that kind of movie. When's the last time you saw a movie like either Planes, Trains, and Automobiles or Midnight Run where, yeah, it's funny, but both movies have a huge emotional impact on you when you watch them. They're very well written. It's not just laughs and gags. It's not like a shitty like Hangover movie. It's not just bad things happening to people you don't care about. It's things happening to characters you care about. You care about their relationships. You know, you look at that scene in Midnight Run where Jack, played by Robert De Niro, goes to borrow money from his daughter. It's a heartbreaking scene. It's a great scene, and it's a pivotal moment in the film. And there's no comedy that would do a scene like that anymore. It would be they wouldn't do it. And Planes, Trains, and Automobiles has scenes like that too. You know, where there's depressing moments in it, but you know it makes the movie more real, and it makes the characters more real, and it makes us care about them more because they're real people. And there's so many things in those movies that you just don't get anywhere. You can't get in a modern comedy. But I would love to see both of those back to back in a theater with a full crowd. Jack Lemmon made you think of Irma Le Duche, 1960, Jack Lemmon and Shirley MacLaine. Yeah, that's a good movie. I haven't seen that in a long time. That's a good movie. There's so many good Jack Lemmon movies. The Apartment, it's great. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles was also one of those movies that was so cut up, and it was actually yeah, right. I know that there's a lot left on the cutting room floor with Planes, Trains as well. But it's that movie, you know, when you watch Uncle Buck, I mean, especially now, I can tell that there's a lot cut because there's things that don't pay off as well, and I feel like should be more fleshed out. With Planes, Trains, I think that theatrical cut is perfect. I think there's probably extra stuff in there, but I think it's good as it is. Thoughts on Mara Jade casting rumors? Nauseating, absolutely nauseating. I'm pretty much done with Disney. I'm pretty much done with Star Wars. If Brie Larson is cast as that in that role, I mean that's just vomit-inducing, horrible, terrible. They don't learn their lesson. That's the thing, you know. They don't learn their lesson. I hate Disney. I hate what they've done to the franchise. Terrible. Oh, Meet Joe Black. That's what it was. Yeah, Legends of the Fall. I think Legends of the Fall came out in '92. So it wasn't Legends of the Fall. It was Meet Joe Black. That's the name of the movie I was thinking of. The movie with Brad Pitt and Anthony Hopkins that the episode 1 trailer ran before. It was Meet Joe Black for sure. Yeah, Legends of the Fall was way, way early. That was a very ery Brad Pitt movie. So it was wrong. Yeah, I miss John Hughes as well. I mean, and I like that he evolved into making, when Planes, Trains came out, I was a kid when that came out. And it was a weird movie. Not weird, it was just weird in the sense that John Hughes directed a movie for adults, about adults, because previously he was on a run of like those like teen movies. So, man, yeah. And I remember, I saw, I was so annoyed because um, I had a chance to see it in the theater and I passed on it. Um, so I forget the details of it. Like me and my friends were doing something, and somebody else's dad was taking him to see it. And I knew it was rated R. I wasn't allowed to see rated R movies, but I wish I would have seen it. So I've never seen that in the theater. What is John Carpenter's best movie? That's a tough one. I mean, there's a short list. So you got Halloween, The Thing. For me, it's Big Trouble in Little China because it's one of the it's not the, it's the first movie I ever saw in a movie theater by myself. Like not like on my own. Me and my friend like walked to the movie theater to see it. Actually, that's not true. No, that's not true. It's technically the second. The first movie I ever saw by myself without parental supervision was Return of the Jedi, which makes me sound really old, but I was in the third grade when it came out, and me and a few friends had this whole elaborate scheme that we were going to go see Return of the Jedi opened on a Wednesday, and we were still in school, and we had a friend of mine's older brother call us all out sick that day. Yeah, there was four of us. And what we did was we dressed for school, and we put a change of clothes in our backpack because I went to an all boys Catholic school, and we put a change of clothes. It was like a mission. We put our clothes in our backpack, and we we walked to the bus stop where the bus would take us to school. But then we as soon as the parents went away, we walked down, and this is in Brooklyn. If anybody knows Brooklyn, it was near Marine Park, is where I grew up, and there was this mall called Kings Plaza Mall. So we went to the mall, to the bus stop, to the city bus, and then we took the bus to this big theater in the city called the Astor Plaza, which is no longer there, but it was a big deal. That was like the hub for all big movies, and we got there at like. What time? I forget what time. I had to be there at 9 a.m. And we bought tickets. It was tough to get because we had to find somebody who would stand with us to act like they were our parents. It wasn't that. There was already a line of people waiting to see the movie, and we just basically found a nice guy that like, hey, can you pretend to be our dad? Because we were clearly cutting school to go to see the movie, and so we. We're standing on line. We had the money. We basically pooled our lunch money, and I saw it. We got the tickets, and we got into the first show of the day, Return of the Jedi on a Wednesday, opening day. And again, I always like cheating the system and getting away with something, and that was such a great experience. And then like the next day at school, nobody believed us that we saw Return of the Jedi. But we knew we saw it. I didn't have to go around spoiling things. It was one of the great things. So anyway, but getting back to the John Carpenter thing, I saw Big Trouble in Little China on my own. Like walked to the theater because it was like a Saturday afternoon, and I was always used to my parents or my dad or my mom taking me to the movies, and I wanted to see this movie, and it didn't get a lot of promotion when it came out, and it was like. It was bothering me. Like nobody would, my dad would only take me to see a movie if it got good reviews. So I was like, fuck it. I was like, do you want to go see Big Trouble in Little China? It's playing. And then we walked to the theater. At that time, there were so many neighborhood theaters. You could just walk in any direction and you'll hit a movie theater. And we saw it. So, can I send you off with a movie recommendation? I haven't seen too many movies lately. I really haven't. I recommended one the last time. I said The Late Show with Art Carney and Lily Tomlin. It's like an old man movie. It's like a very detective noir movie that I watch on Amazon. But I haven't seen any new movies in a while, so I can't give any new movie. I'd have to think of old movie. But yeah, Charles Grodin on YouTube. Let's honor Charles Grodin. Watch him on Carson and Letterman in the 80s and early 90s. You won't be disappointed. You won't be disappointed. I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know what the deal with Brie Larson and Mara Jade is. I just saw the headlines. I don't know. I don't know anything. I like Escape from New York too. Yeah, I'm not in love. I'm not as in love with that as other people are. It's comes off as a little B-ish and cheesy, but I like it. Escape from L.A. is freaking horrible. Oh, I forgot about They Live. They Live is fantastic. Just for that fight scene with Roddy Piper alone, it's fantastic. But I like Big Trouble in Little China because when I was a kid, I took it literally because I didn't get the comedy elements of it necessarily. That it was like like kind of satirical on like like kung fu movies and stuff, and then it was like later in life where I saw all the nuances and what it was going for, and I liked it even more. Real fans went to Return of the Jedi at midnight, not in the afternoon. They didn't do midnight showings back then. '83, you could there wasn't they didn't do midnight showings. Not on a Wednesday. Midnight showings became a thing like in the '90s. There weren't too many theaters doing midnight shows back then. You love Block for Life says that you love the music selection at the top of the show. Um, it's you know what it's called. It's called there's a name for it. Let me find it. Um, it's called synthwave. Is the genre. I never heard of it, but then we play a lot from Scandroid as an artist. Although I noticed it was getting a little repetitive, so I switched it up to just all over. Now it's just synthwave in general. The worst Batman movies. I mean, I guess you got to go with Batman and Robin, right? The George Clooney one with Schwarzenegger as Mr. Freeze. um, they're all pretty bad. I mean, I think this new one coming out is going to give that a run for its money because that looks really bad. Everything you hear from the production seems bad. The casting choice of Bruce Wayne / Batman's horrible. But yeah, I mean, the Val Kilmer Batman's not any better really. I've seen Welcome to the Dollhouse. I just don't remember it. Cha Cha. I've seen Welcome to the Dollhouse. I wasn't really into those artsy movies at the time I saw it, and I saw it like I just remember other people. I remember Stern talking about it, and I just so I went into it thinking it was going to be better than it was. But yeah, eventually. Tommy Lee Jones as Two-Face is such a weird casting. Like again, I hate stunt casting, and the James Bond films are guilty of this, and that is getting whoever is hot at the time to play your bad guy. And the Batman Forever, they took whoever was hot as they were, now it kind of worked out with Jim Carrey because you can kind of see Jim Carrey as the Riddler, right? Because he's coming off The Mask and Ace Ventura, but Tommy Lee Jones was coming off like The Fugitive and serious movies, and he just wasn't. It was just so. Why not just get Billy D. Williams, the guy who was Harvey Dent in the first movie? It was such a terrible, terrible casting decision. Awful. In the Mouth of Madness is underrated. I agree with you. You saw Return of the Jedi opening night at midnight in L.A. Okay, yeah, there was just no way because I actually have old newspaper clippings. Like I would save the New York Times when like big movies came out, and all the movie times are listed. Return of the Jedi was not playing at midnight. So yeah, that might be an LA thing. It definitely was an option. It certainly wasn't an option for me because I was 9 years old when that came out. So it was definitely not an option to see it at midnight. But it was a great experience. It was really one of my. It might be the best theater experience I ever had, just because I was cutting school to go and getting away with it. Amy live shows planned for the future. No, I think that ran its course. I think that was. I mean, I don't know unless she does something, but no, I think I don't think you return to that. I saw Star Wars Episode 3 at a midnight showing, and I ended up hitting the Chick-fil-A counter with a lightsaber. Well, yeah, I don't remember. I think I saw that as screening. That was like I actually had a job where I got offered screenings at that point. I saw Episode 3 2 weeks in advance, and I felt really cool, even though the movie itself was disappointing. Is there a new pick of the Riddler? No, I haven't seen it. I haven't followed any movie news. Like, 'cause I used to like be all up on like what new movies are coming out. I don't know anything. I don't know anything anymore. I'm so behind. Thoughts on Norm Macdonald Dirty Work with Artie Lang? Yeah, we've talked about Dirty Work. I like Dirty Work. It's a good bad movie. It feels like a Adam Sandler movie with Norm Macdonald. I know it's his production company. It feels like an Adam Sandler production. I think it could have been better, but it's good. It's fine. Thoughts on Matrix 4? I mean, anything's better than Matrix 2 and 3, but I don't know how you go back to that universe. How do you go back to Matrix? You know, and it's sad because the first Matrix is so goddamn good. It's still good. It's one of those movies that just because the sequels are bad, you could still enjoy the first movie. But I don't know. I mean, I saw 2 and 3 in the theater. That's all the only times I ever saw them. I never saw them again. What are they gonna do? I mean, are they gonna like? And I don't like it when these sequels like retcon the previous movies. Where it's like horror does that all the time. Where it's like, this is a sequel, but we're ignoring the past 3 sequels. This is just a direct sequel to part 2 or part 1. It's like, you can't really do that, you know. But you can, I guess. I'd like them to do it with Star Wars. So what am I talking about? If they retcon the Disney sequels, I'd be more than pleased. That's a good question, Joey asked. Which Return of the Jedi? If it's the one if it's the special edition in 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago, the one they came out with in '97, then yeah, that was definitely a midnight screening because it was in '97 the reissue, but it was '83, and you saw it in '83 at midnight. My hat's off to you. What do I think is wrong with Perry? That's a much longer discussion. It depends on the day. Episode 3 was the best of the prequels with the no at the end kill. Yeah, I mean, there was a lot wrong with that movie. I mean, by then you're making the thing with the prequels, at least for me, was every one after you saw it was like, and I liked every one when I first saw them to some degree, except the second one. The second one I hated immediately, but the first one I liked kind of, and then when I saw it like again, which was probably the next day, I was like, oh yeah, this isn't so good. But then you'd be like, okay, well, this will be the one bad one. They'll make up for it. 2 and 3 are going to be great because now, Anakin's going to be older and he's going to be badass. And then 2 is just so bad. Oh my God, it's one of the worst things ever. It's not as bad as the Disney sequels, but it's, but just because those are bad doesn't mean this is good. It's bad. And then 3 was okay, but again, you're coming off it's a sequel to 2 bad movies. And it's got some moments in it, but yeah, it doesn't do anything for me. Colin Farrell isn't the new Batman. Colin Farrell's the new Penguin. The guy from Twilight is the new Batman. I forget his name. The guy that's in Tenet. Why does his name escape me at the moment? But he's the new Batman. And he doesn't look anything like Batman. Tim, you saw The Matrix opening night at the Chinese Theater in Hollywood and everyone booed? What is up with that crowd? How do you boo The Matrix? I understand booing the second Matrix, or the third, but definitely not the first. Hero says I'm gonna have to watch Midnight Run after you've seen Midnight Run, right? I mean, I assume everyone's seen Midnight Run. Midnight Run is my favorite comedy. It's like my favorite comedy. I think I'd have to really cycle through it. It's so goddamn good. Love you, TomB, and thank you for being so kind to Perry. Well, yeah, you're welcome. I mean, you gotta love the guy. But I wasn't kidding around when I was taken back by him screaming about that he has too much food in his refrigerator. My refrigerator is too full. And it wasn't that long ago. I said a year, but it was even shorter than that, where he'd be calling me up saying how he has nothing to eat, and I'd be sending him money to go get a bite to eat or to buy groceries and stuff. And now things have turned around. He can go shopping whenever he wants. He still goes shopping on the 3rd of the month, though, which is he's such a creature of habit. He still does his shopping and bill paying on the 3rd just because he's been trained to do that. That's when he used to get his disability. So he does a shopping day then, but he can go shopping whenever he wants now, which is crazy. So it makes me laugh, and it does make me a little. I'm not gonna lie, it makes me a little emotional too, because I just how far we've come, Perry and I specifically in the, the wealth of his, food that he gets sent. And even getting food delivered to him, I just think of, I can't tell you how many voicemails I have from him, begging for food, or when things were really rough, And again, I keep in mind that you're paying for all his bills, you're paying for his rent and everything, but then he's got this cost of living expenses too. Oh, you've seen it 100 times, but you can't see it again. Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I need to get a new TV, and I'm moving, and I have this I hate the TV I have right now, and I want to get a new TV. I want to get like a big screen TV. I mean, the term big screen TV is kind of dated. It's like when people brag about having a flat screen. It's like, yeah, everybody has a flat screen. Everybody has a big screen TV. But I want to get like a big. I've never had like a really big TV, and the place I'm moving to, like, there's a room that I can kind of turn into a media room and have like this one wall, and I have these really nice speakers that I haven't been able to set up in years. If anybody is an audiophile, they're Focal speakers that are made in France, and I kind of wanted to put the big TV and set up the speakers. I don't know how it's going to happen because it's going to be a little pricey, but I'd like to save all my movie watching for then, and I'd love to watch Midnight Run again. I haven't seen Midnight Run in a few years. It's so good. It's so goddamn good. If you haven't seen Midnight Run, see it immediately. It's not something, just Charles Grodin, he has other movies. People mention Heaven Can Wait, but he's a supporting character in that, and he's very good in it. But Midnight Run, he shines. And there's a whole backstory with Midnight Run where he was like the last choice for Midnight Run. They wanted anybody but Charles Grodin, and the director fought for him. It was originally, it's funny, Midnight Run was originally supposed to be a vehicle. It ties into the stream, actually. It was supposed to be a Cher movie. Cher originally was cast as the Charles Grodin role, and I forget who was opposite her. You can look it up on IMDb, I'm sure, but there was like Cher. It was a female movie. It was, keep in mind, Cher was coming off of Moonstruck, and she was supposed to be the Grodin character, and I forget it was the De Niro character, and it went through so many different casting things, and it went through different studios and everything. But eventually they landed at the right people, because you can't imagine that movie without Charles Grodin now. But yeah, it was just crazy. Robert Pattinson, that's the guy. You don't hold Twilight against Pattinson. I don't hold Twilight against him either, but he just doesn't do it for me. I didn't like him in Tenet, but then again, I didn't like Tenet, and I don't like him as Batman. And if you go through the behind the scenes stuff of that movie, he's not even working out for the movie. So you're gonna have like a scrawny Batman. I don't know. It just doesn't. It's just got disaster all over it. Oh yeah, here I just looked it up. So this is Paramount Pictures originally owned the rights to Midnight Run, and to improve the film's chances at the box office, the studio wanted big name star to appear opposite Robert De Niro. Okay, so he was cast, and the first suggestion was Cher, who had box office success with The Witches of Eastwick, Suspect, and Moonstruck. It was felt that casting Cher opposite Robert De Niro would lend some sexual overtones to their relationship between the two characters. Director Martin Brest, however, rejected the gender switch idea, so Paramount Pictures suggested giving the role to Robin Williams, who had recently had a big hit with Good Morning Vietnam. Williams read and liked the script and agreed to audition. In the meantime, however, Brest had auditioned the less famous Charles Grodin and loved Grodin's interaction with De Niro. As such, Martin Brest cast Grodin without auditioning Robin Williams, and Paramount Pictures decided to drop out of the project because they were furious that he would say no to Robin Williams, and the rights went to Universal, who went ahead with Grodin and De Niro, which is, of course, the right decision. Very interesting. I always love casting things with movies where like you can envision like the original casting it, and we would not be talking about Midnight Run ever if it was a Cher movie with De Niro. What's my opinion on Sex and the City? I am a man, so I have no opinion on Sex and the City. I've never seen it. Get a projector. A projector's not going to be easy because the room is like I don't know about getting a projector for the media room. I kind of want one of those like Sony's coming out with these like really nice OLED TVs I was looking at, but they're super expensive. Projector's just not going to work for the setup, unfortunately. I like one of these days, if I ever get the opportunity, I'd like a dedicated like home theater, but that's not going to be for a while. Midnight Run got crap sequels. I remember a made-for-TV movie, Midnight Run sequel, but I've never seen it. Never seen it. For the record, the stream is the best entertainment in the last 13 months. Thank you. That's I can't take all the credit because Perry is, really 90% of it, I'd say, and then a little bit percent me, and then a lot percent of the moderators, and really, but most of it goes to you guys. I think that because you guys make Perry, what he is. But thank you. That's nice of you to say. Yeah. So you say the trailer for the Robert Pattinson Batman actually crushed it. I saw the trailer. I didn't think anything of it, but I'll reverse my opinion. There's plenty of movies where I thought the marketing was bad or the trailer was bad, and then you see the movie and you're like, oh my God, this is great, and you just do a complete 180. I'd have to think of examples of that, but I don't know about this one. Another Midnight Run, that's what it was called. Yeah, I didn't even know there was another one. Ooh, I don't think I could ever see those. And Robin Williams would have been awful in that Midnight Run because he's Robin Williams. And I know it's terrible to say, but I just think Robin Williams is fucking annoying. Like, he's got to be in the right vehicle. Like Mrs. Doubtfire, Miss Doubtfire, that's the right vehicle for him. Good Morning Vietnam, that's the right vehicle. But when you put him in a movie where he's got to play against somebody else, I don't see it. It's a weird situation. Ben Affleck is Batman in the Snyderverse and will be appearing in The Flash, and Patterson is Batman in the... See, DC just doesn't know. DC is just so fucking lost. And they have been lost for so long. Like, they had the original Christopher Reeve Superman, which was great. And then 89 Batman, which was, think of what you will about the movie itself, but phenomenal. But they never capitalized on it and never built a universe. And then they had the Christopher Nolan Batmans, but that's Christopher Nolan. Warner Brothers can't take credit for that. And then they had that Superman Returns, which was horrible. And then there's it's just fuck. And then they saw what Marvel was doing, and they tried to fast track themselves to do that, but they didn't earn it. They didn't earn all the steps that Marvel did. They just rushed into like, oh, here's Justice League and here's all these people together, but it didn't have the impact that like something like the Avengers did, because they didn't earn it. Fuck, terrible. So that they'll never learn their lessons. What are my thoughts on the bank job? I've never seen the bank job. Speaking of Midnight Run, though, somebody asked me for movie recommendations. The guy who directed Midnight Run is Martin Brest, and his first movie, I'm trying to think of it now, because the bank job jogged my memory with it. Give me a minute while it comes to me. His first movie is a bank heist movie. Oh, it's called Going in Style. Going in Style, right? This goes back to my other Art Carney recommendation. It stars Art Carney, George Burns, and I forget the third guy. The guy who's like the big actor guy. The guy who's in Godfather 2, I think. Can't think of his name. My brain's a little fried. Anyway, it's called Going in Style. It's about these three old guys. They live in New York, and they go rob a bank. They made a remake of it a few years ago with Michael Caine and Morgan Freeman. I didn't see it. I'm sure it's awful, but the original's great. If you want to see a good 70s movie, Going in Style with those three guys, it's great. And it's funny, is Art Carney was like 30 years younger than any of the other guys, but he looks so... he had such a rough life that he aged really quickly. Nick thinks the TomB after shows are just as good as the mainstream. Well, I think you're crazy, but thank you for saying that. That's nice of you to say. Yeah, I took Cha-Cha says take an aspirin after the... Yeah, I took loads of Tylenol Monday and yesterday. I feel fine now, though. Yeah, that's a good... Amy brings up a good point. I hate it when they cast Heath Ledger, too, as the Joker. I thought it was terrible casting. Because again, it's stunt casting as well, because somebody who was big in another movie, Brokeback Mountain. And, of course, fucking shut my mouth up real quick, because he was amazing, I thought it was going to be terrible. I'm trying to think of an example, and I can't think of it offhand, but a movie that was marketed where you just think it's horrible, it looks terrible, there's no way this is going to be good, and then you see the movie, whether it's begrudgingly or on cable or whatever, and then you're like, oh my god, this is actually great, and the marketing failed the movie. And I know there's so many examples of that. For the life of me, I can't think of one in the moment. Cha-Cha, you want a Captain Brennan FDNY update? I said this on the stream, but he's doing much better, thank you. He was actually feeling better on Monday. He's not 100% because he still gets fatigue and stuff, but he's feeling a lot better than he was. He saw his doctor on Tuesday, and the doctor said he's improving. His numbers are better, but they're not to where he should be, but they're better than what they were, leading up to this. So he's very hopeful that he's over it and he's recovering, but, they're going to see it. They're going to run more tests and stuff, but that made me feel really good that he was doing that. I never saw a Suicide Squad either. I just couldn't bear to watch it. Robin Williams or Rodney Dangerfield always annoyed you with over-the-top acting. I kind of get that, except they both have movies where that works to their advantage. And I'd say with Rodney, Back to School is such a great movie for him. Because he's perfect in it. He's actually legit good in it. You can't say that for a lot of his movies, but he's really good in Back to School. And Robin Williams, as I said, Good Morning Vietnam is Stoutfire. He's got a bunch of others where he's good. I'm not a Good Will Hunting fan or any of his, drama movies, but he's good in those. You missed the whole stream. Well, I'll get as soon as we kill this, I'll get this up online. Yeah, I like it's funny with Christopher. Somebody asked, Tim asked if I like Christopher Guest movies. Yeah, I do. I liked Best in Show. and Mighty Wind. Although Mighty Wind felt like it was trying to. Best in Show is so good, and it's definitely the best of his movies. I felt like any movie that came out after that was trying to recapture Best in Show. Like Mighty Wind was trying to be in its way. I mean, maybe that's just my perception of it, but Mighty Wind didn't. It felt like Best in Show light, and I forget. And Waiting for Guffman is good as well. And I forget what else there. I don't know what else came after that, but yeah, Best in Show for sure. Even though, everybody says they like that movie. It's one of those things where it's like, you see a movie early and you think you're in on something. Because I saw Best in Show when it came out, but it didn't. It really blew up once it came on, like home video and cable, and then everybody saw it. It's like when, you like a band, and then it goes mainstream. My favorite tip comments from tonight. There was a lot of them. There were some really good ones tonight. Black Mage cracked me up about muting Perry when Whitney Talk comes up. I really like that one. That was good. There were some moments where I was laughing, legit laughing. I thought it was slow. I thought it was a slow start tonight. I wasn't. I felt off myself because I was running around. I was doing a lot of stuff tonight. I kind of just made it, like within 20 minutes. I got home and I didn't have a lot. I usually have way more time for the prep for the stream, and I didn't have that today. So I felt, and Perry was studying his script today because I've been trying to get him to. He's got a little bit of this monologue in this script for this Adult Swim thing, and even though the producers know his situation where he's got a short-term memory problem and he might not remember, but I really want him to do a good job. I really want him to nail it, and so he was studying that, and I was kind of reading the script with him as we were working on that a lot today. So anyway, so I thought the stream had a slow build, but then it was good. Like Scott said it too in a message. He was like, "This is a good middle of the road stream." They're not all going to be grand slams, but this is a good stream. It was a good like average stream. There was a lot of things on there, that there's some good offers and stuff. So it was good. I saw Popeye in the theater faster, but I saw it. My mom and dad took me to see Popeye, because and boy, that was brutal. I mean, I haven't seen it since I was a kid. But that was one of the worst movies I ever saw in the theater. Yeah, Joe, that's a good question. Office Space had terrible marketing. But for some reason that marketing worked on me, and I'm one of the people that could say I saw Office Space in the theater. I saw it opening night, and there wasn't a lot of people in the theater with my girlfriend at the time. I was in on Office Space really early, even though the marketing was shit. I mentioned this movie before. Another one that comes to mind, a comedy. I remember the movie Necessary Roughness with Scott Bakula and Sinbad, and we were talking about Sinbad a few weeks ago. That movie had dreadful marketing. I mean, nobody will remember it because it's like a movie that was out in theaters for like 3 weeks in 1992. But terrible marketing, but actually a really good movie. Good comedy, good sports movie, period. And I'm not a big football fan. Certainly not a college football fan, man. It's a really good movie. Necessary Roughness with Scott Bakula. Oh, Spinal Tap, yeah. I don't even count Spinal Tap as one of those movies. Yeah, Spinal Tap is, of course, the best. Fuck yeah. Yeah. I mean, getting back to those movies. Yeah, I agree with Amy, too. Zodiac's marketing didn't do it justice. Yeah, that's a great point. It's less about Zodiac and more about the Moby Dick type, archetype of like chasing this white whale that is driving you obsessed and ruining your life. Yeah, Zodiac is such a great movie. Yeah, and that marketing was shit. I remember that marketing. That's a good point. John Wick, I would say that's one of those movies where you just dismiss it because at the time John Wick came out, Keanu Reeves wasn't doing much, and you just think it's going to be like, oh, this is going to be like, who's that guy Jason Statham that does those transport movies. I can't stand him, by the way, and I can't stand any of those movies because they're just so C list action movies. And that's what I thought John Wick was. I thought, oh, John Wick is like an American transporter, garbage. And holy shit, are you wrong if you think that? What a fucking movie that is. What a fun fucking movie that is. All of the John Wicks, really, they're all good. There's 3 movies and they didn't do a 4th, but all 3 are great. And all 3 managed to do different things, which is interesting. Yeah, Joey's a mid-season type stream. Yeah, I mean, look, you do 3 days a week. It's tough to me. I think Mailbag Friday is always going to be good, and I think Subscriber Sunday is always going to be good because it's just based on the formats. Wednesday doesn't have much of a format, and eventually maybe we'll get down to 2 days a week. I don't know, but the demand is there, so we do 3. Yeah, Kathy Ireland's in Necessary Roughness, and she's really, she's got a weird role. Yeah, she's got a small role in it, but she's really, she looks pretty damn good in that movie. Yeah, I like Strange Brew. Strange Brew is one of the first movies I ever rented on VHS, or like my mom rented it for me. It's good, but it's got its flaws. But again, it's one of those movies when I saw it as a kid and I took it literally because I was too young to notice the nuances. And I mentioned this before, but I saw Young Frankenstein on TV as a kid, and I just thought I was watching a Frankenstein movie. I didn't know it was a comedy. Again, it's like Rain Man watching Who's on First. My brain didn't click. I was looking at it very analytically. Like I didn't get the jokes because I was too young. So I thought I was watching Frankenstein movie. This is Frankenstein. I knew who Frankenstein was. Fascinating. John Wick reboot starring Kevin Hart. Can you fucking imagine? That'll happen in our lifetime. Not Kevin Hart, but somebody like Kevin Hart. John Wick reboot starring Perry. Yeah, Max von Sydow died recently. Yeah, he's one of those actors. There's so many actors that like they just always look old. Like they looked old 30 years ago, they looked old 10 years ago, and they look old now, and they still can play old. And then I thought that about Patrick Stewart, and he's finally starting to look his age a little bit. Like, unfortunately, you could see it. As bad as that, I don't know if there's how many of you are Star Trek fans, but I really aggressively disliked that Picard show. One of the main reasons is he doesn't have that that snappiness to him anymore. He doesn't have that resonance to his voice anymore. Any news on YouTube streams? Yes, I do. And by the way, not to plug, but all the streams go on Patreon credenza level the next day, unedited. I do have a YouTube stream coming out tomorrow. It's the next one in line. I forget which one it is. I have a couple in the bank uploaded, and I just got uploaded. A couple of them I was waiting on thumbnails for. A couple of them had really bad audio problems, but I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start pumping those out. Don't hold me to that. Not pumping those out. But yeah, I didn't realize how behind I was in that. So yeah, the next one is Tuesday, April 13th. It was a time travel Tuesday. I had a hard time deciding what to call it because there was a couple of things in that stream. There was like, I think it was the first egg toss. I think it was the egg thing first started there. It's funny, April now seems like a year ago. But, and then he, I forget what else he did. There was it's the one where he was in the hallway talking to the BJ Bibb painting about the weather. And a couple other things. It was a middle of the road stream. It wasn't. Those are the hardest sometimes to come up with names for. And it was only, and then we had a big long discussion about his tattoo on that one. So that'll be out That'll be out tomorrow at some point. Oh God, Joey, I thought I heard somebody was trying to he says Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is going to star Kevin Hart. I thought I read somewhere that they wanted to remake Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, but why would you fucking do that? Why would you do that? No, I have Mumbles Slam. Do I like Star Trek Discovery? I have a couple of friends who are big Star Trek fans, bigger than me, and they have told me to stay away from it because it's just an abomination. That's what they say, and they come from different political ideologies. It's not like oh, it's too woke or it's too that. It's just they say it's just bad. So I've deliberately not watched Star Trek Discovery. I still haven't seen Deep Space Nine, so why would I watch that? It's weird that I missed out on Deep Space Nine, but I'd like to watch that one day. I was trying to hold out to see if they would remaster Deep Space Nine like the way they did Next Generation and make it in HD, but I just don't see that happening. So I'll just have to watch it in shitty standard definition at some point. Tom Felton. Am I worried that Perry might say something that will get him in trouble with Twitch during baby modes? 100% yes. That's one of the reasons why he has that earpiece in there. Is I try to calm him down during that. Although I will say I'm less worried about it now. He's just gotten so much better. But there's times where he catches himself. But yeah, and we all know the words that I'd be worried about, or the word I should say. The anchovy pizza jerk DSP lost his partnership for dropping so many slurs. There's conflicting thoughts on that. Why Darkside Phil lost his partnership? Some say it's because he hasn't given a straight answer about it. He's not shown the email he got from Twitch. He said it's because he drops slurs like that, but other people say it's because he broke terms of service and partner, and other people say it's because he was begging his followers to give tip comments. Other people say he was doxing people, so who knows what the thing is. But yeah, Perry, I think Perry's learning. Legit, he knows what words he can't say, and and my sensibilities have been shifted as well in terms of again, you can't think of what makes. You got to think of what these companies think, Twitch, for example, what their sensibilities are. Unfortunately, not that I'm cool with slurs, I'm not, but there's certain roads you can't go down. Like when people send in mailbag items and they're overtly sexual, we can't show those. You can't do those on the stream. So yeah, I'm very aware of what he says, but yeah, baby mode does make me nervous because he's so unstable at that point that literally anything could happen. So, in answer to your question, yeah, they should remake it with chicks. You love movies that show that girls can kick ass too. Me too. Name 7 things I want to eat in LA. Well, Mexican food. I don't know if that counts as one thing, but there's several spots in LA that I like because again, it's hard to get good Mexican food. I'd like to go to that one of the Mexican places shown in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I was going to go last time I was in LA and I didn't get to go, and I heard that the New Beverly at Tarantino's theater is opening the first week of June. I'd love to go there and see Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, maybe eat at a Mexican restaurant if I have time. My time's going to be limited there. Normally I'd say In-N-Out Burger, but I'm kind of over In-N-Out Burger. I can't think of too many must-have things. I'd like to get a good donut because again, I said this last time. There's no good donuts in New York, so I'd like to get a good donut, a good donut place maybe. I'd have to think. There's a couple of restaurants, specific restaurants, but as far as food goes, yeah, the genre of Mexican is what I look forward to the most. I like Barney's Beanery too in West Hollywood. There was always a place I always went to at some point, but I don't know if I'm gonna make it there this trip because I'm not staying there. Wait, Darkside Phil is completely banned from Twitter for hate speech? Really? That's new. Did that happen this week? Dark Deep Nutsack says Deep Space Nine will not get a remaster as it was shot on video, not like next. No, it was shot on film. I'm almost positive it was shot on film. The problem with it is it was mastered on video, like Next Gen. And what happens with Next Gen is all the special effects were done, on video, of course, at the time, because it's all, it's TV. There's no high definition. So it's just a pain in the ass. So you have to go back to the original film elements, but yeah, and then you got to redo all the special effects for every episode. And I think CBS Paramount lost money. It was very expensive for them to do it for Next Generation, and they thought they would make money on Blu-ray sales, and they never really made the money that they thought they would. So I just don't think for shows like Deep Space Nine and Voyager would get that, but I'm pretty sure both were shot on film, 35 millimeter, but just all their post production was done on video, and then Enterprise was already in HD because that came around at the time where that was just starting to take off. I didn't know the whole thing about Darkside Phil on Twitter. Well, serves him right for blocking all the Perry supporters, right? Did Darkside Phil drop a lot of homophobic slurs? I didn't know. I'm looking him up right now. No, his Twitter's still active. He still posts on Twitter, unless you meant Twitch. Sorry. I've never eaten a Jack in the Box. I don't think I ever will. Not nothing against it. It just, yeah. I don't know. Like I said, I'm not really looking forward to this trip. I'm really not. I got a lot going on at home, and it's gonna be a pain in the ass. I'll send you my new address when I move. You want to send me food? By the way, yeah, I should send you the hotel I'm staying at if I'm ever doing if I do a stream from the hotel, which I'm still not sure I'm gonna do. Yeah, I could use some delivery. It's weird. It's gonna be weird for me to do the streams actually on West Coast time because I operate on West Coast time now. But 5:00 to me is 8:00, and 6:00 on Fridays is 9:00. It's gonna be weird for me to actually start the stream at 5 and it be 5, dinner hour. So it is gonna be strange. Captain Skillsy, hey Tom, are you doing anywhere international streams? Absolutely, yes. Yeah, I understand that the time is fucked for anybody in the UK or Europe. So yeah, we'll do another international subscriber Sunday for sure. A noon start time, West Coast for a Sunday. Absolutely. Maybe for July. I don't know if I can get one done for June. June's a really busy month. Stan's Donuts. I think I've been to Stan's. But yeah, there's a couple of places I used to really. Oh, and Del Taco. I love Del Taco. I straight up love Del Taco, and I can't have it. I don't get it here. I really want to go to a Del Taco. DK Donuts in Santa Monica is great. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to make it to Santa Monica. I plan on going to San Diego. Well, and I am going to San Diego. After I'm done with LA, I'm going to see my friend Robert. And he always takes me to great food spots. It's just, look, past year has not been kind to any of us. I fucking got myself in the best shape of my life. Really great shape. And this past year, it's kind of all gone to shit. I just got to get back to it. But I haven't been there yet. haven't gotten that zone yet. I think I'm not quite like Perry, but I definitely got some pounds to shed and get back into some. I just feel a little doughy. I don't feel as strong as I was. I gotta get into that good shape. I was talking to a friend about it the other day. We were like gym partners for a while, and we had the same trainer. And I just said, this pandemic really shows you what you are at the core. If you're a fitness person and you enjoy working out, even though gyms were closed and all that stuff, you found a way to work out and stay in shape. If you were a person that just indulges, when it's the end of the world, you know what, you're gonna eat a lot of shit, you're gonna drink, and you're gonna gain weight, and that's the kind of person I am, and that's what happened in the past year. But who amongst us can't say the same? Microwave Brigade, not sure if I said it before, but do I play video games? Yeah, I play video games. Not so much like I used to, because I just don't have the time anymore. I have a PS4 and I have a Nintendo Switch. I'm more of a Nintendo guy than anything else. So I play a lot of Nintendo, and lately I've been playing Super Mario 3D World and Pac-Man 99, which is like this online game that's free on the Switch, and you play against 93 people. And just the other night I got first place. I was really proud of myself. I beat 99 other people playing. It's the first time it happened. But yeah, so I play video games, but not as much as I'd like. I usually do it after the stream, just to because I can't go to sleep right away after the stream. My brain has to come down. Yeah, and I started on the PS4. I haven't turned that on in so long, but I was playing Doom Eternal for a while, and I got to a level where I just couldn't get past it. Yeah, Robert. Yeah, Lolita's. Definitely want to go to Lolita's. Robert and I are also going to go to Del Frisco's Double Eagle Steakhouse, because it's a chain, but it's still the best steak I've ever had. Was at Del Frisco's Double Eagle, and it was like their Wagyu bone-in ribeye, and I told him, so we're gonna go there for sure. Tim, you're gonna send me donuts? Cool. Yeah, I'm staying at the Hilton Universal, I think. And I don't know my room number yet, but maybe I'll get that. I'll get that name. I'll get that to moderators. You can. But no, I honestly though, I don't want you guys spending any money on me. I appreciate the offer, but I don't want to be like Perry. You forgive me for putting on weight? Yeah. I mean, look, I don't consider myself fat, but my body type too, I think it's because of being Irish. I put weight in one place, two places, my face and my stomach. I don't distribute weight well. So I got to be very careful. And I was in the gym 5-6 days a week. I was doing weightlifting. I was doing strongman stuff. And man, I was down to a 32 waist. I was in good shape. But I feel like all that work went to waste. Kind of. I'll get back to it. Next month I think July, after I move, I'm gonna start hitting the gym pretty hard again. It's good. It's good to get your mind off things. It's good to I was in such a great zone, but again, I don't think my story is unique with that. Yeah, San Diego Lolita's for their California burrito, because it's the best California burrito, period, bar none. No question, and I've had quite a bit now. There's a lot of spots in San Diego is such a great. I love San Diego, and I don't know if Lolita's is the first, because there's a couple places that claim to have the first California burrito. California burrito, for those who don't know, it's basically a steak burrito. And it's got guacamole, sour cream, but instead of filling it with rice and beans, which I can't stand rice. I don't like rice, period. I don't like rice in burritos. It's just such filler. They put it with spear fries, and it sounds crazy, but it's so goddamn good. Lolita's also has a really cool thing called the 2-in-1 burrito, which is a burrito, but then it has taquitos in the middle of the burrito. So deep fried taquitos in the middle of the burrito. insane, but good stuff. And also, Rob, what was the name of the place we went to last time I was in San Diego? And we had never been there before, but Robert's Alice the cat in the chat. That's who I'm talking to. It was the one where they had the special where you can get like 10 tacos for like whatever, and we kept getting like all these tacos. It was really good. It was kind of a modern looking place. So I don't know if that's still there. What was the name of that place? It was really good. I'd like to go back there. Fuck, what was the name of it? Taco Revolution. Yeah, Taco Revolution. Fucking great. God, that place was great. Yeah, I'd like to go there. I can't. See, that's the part I'm looking forward to about the trip is not so much the LA stuff, but the San Diego stuff. And Robert, you're gonna come to the shoot, right? You're gonna come to the Adult Swim shoot in LA, and then we'll drive down to San Diego after. That's the plan, anyway. There's a place by me on Long Island I very recently discovered that's really good. Okay, cool. And I scoffed at it because it's in a shopping center, but it's really good. And they actually have amazing fish tacos and stuff. It's weird, but yeah. Okay, Taco Revolution. That's, yeah. See, I'm not losing any weight anytime soon because whenever I go to LA, I just like, I to distract myself from the fact that I'm in LA, I have to like indulge myself. And I don't mean to bash LA. I like LA fine for some parts, and normally I have to stay in West Hollywood because we'd be doing some kind of event or something like that. But now I don't have to stay there, which is fine by me. Oh, Chaz, let me tell you. You know, it's funny. I was actually there the other night, and I was going to email you these pictures I took. I'm going to find it right now. It's I've mentioned it before, but I actually have the name of it. And it's the kind of Mexican I like. It's like Tex-Mexish, you know. Taco Revolution Jill is in San Diego. I'll send you these pictures. I try not to take pictures of food because it's just people can overdo it. But hey, I'm just scrolling through my pictures. I can't remember the place off the top of my head. I know I took a picture of it. Hang on. Still finding it. Anyway, it's next to Trader Joe's in Westbury. If you drive down Old Country Road, like near where the Boxes Unlimited store is. Not Boxes Unlimited. It's like I can't even, the store where you buy like boxes. Oh, it's called, here it is. I took a picture. It's called Tocala Cantina. Tocolo Cantina. And it's you know, I would pass by it and think that it was like a Chipotle, and I hate Chipotle. So I never thought twice about it, and then somebody else tipped me off to it and said like, "Oh, you should go there," and it was great. So you know, it's by far the best fish tacos I've ever had. And stick to their tacos. I tried the burrito and it looks good, but it's just not. It wasn't great. It was again filled with rice and stuff. But their tacos are amazing. I had their carnitas tacos. Not to get into a whole food tangent, but that's that highly recommended, Chaz. If you if you want to drive over there, and they have great Mexican beer on tap too. They not only do they have Modelo, both varieties, the Especial, and the dark. They also have Dos Equis on tap. Margarita's fantastic, and the last time I went there, I didn't drink at all. I just got they make fresh lemonade, like freshly squeezed lemonade. Also fantastic. Just couldn't recommend it highly enough. I'd say definitely the best Mexican place on Long Island, and I've tried quite a few of them. Yeah, right. Amy says the best Mexican places are all usually ones in the least locations, and I don't know. I'm so judgmental off the top of my head. Like I'll judge things and I'll thumb my nose at it, like, oh, that place has to be. Because it just looks like, if you look at it from the outside, it looks like a Chipotle or one of those places. But man, it's just it's so good. Yeah, check it out, Chaz. I mean, you might have to make a reservation because it's always crowded. So call and make a reservation before you go, and request a booth if you're gonna go with more than two people. Request a booth. The booth seating's the best. My that's my tip. That's my tip. Taco Tuesday pair. Yeah. So I still don't know yet what we're gonna do as far as the streams. I might have to jump on tomorrow during the day. I know I keep teasing this, but I got so many other things going on, which is one of the reasons I'm so behind on the YouTube things. You know, I have my own health issues, which I won't get into, but you know, my dad, I'm moving, and all the things that encompass with moving. I got to prepare for this trip out to LA, and I've got real work stuff. Not that this isn't real work, but I just so many things on my plate. That, you know, I've fallen behind with the with the YouTube stuff, but I think it's going to be easier now because I'm just going to do a lot less editing. You know, a lot of people, like, you know, they don't. I think the breaks are less boring now. You know, because I'm engaging him more, so I don't cut those out. You know, the only thing I'd really cut out is if he said anything really bad. He hasn't done anything like that in a while. So really, the only thing it comes down to is when he goes out to the ring, and I just got to pull the audio for the ring to insert in there, which is tedious. And then also sometimes there's sync issues with the audio sync, but those have been getting easier to fix. Yeah, if you want to go, Chaz, you want to go there on a weekday for lunch, I'll join you. It'll be tricky for a while, but yeah, check it out first because I don't want to turn somebody onto a place, and you know that's happened to me before where like, whether it's a recommendation of anything, a movie, like sometimes if you recommend a movie or like food, like a restaurant to somebody, like a friend of yours, and then they go and they didn't like it, and it's a thing you love, whether it's the movie or the restaurant, and they say they didn't like it, it's like you think differently of them. Like, wait, what? How did you not like that? Like, how did you not like what's there not to like? The Adult Swim show, I think we'll be able to talk about it very soon. You know, I'm definitely gonna take some video. I'll take some pictures of him in costume and stuff. We'll post those. But they haven't said actually. You know, they said not to share the script or anything like that. But you know, I'll have Perry announce it soon. I'll check with the production team and see what you know, if we can mention the show and everything. But well, Chaz, there's gonna be no argument. If you stick to tacos at this place, you'd be insane not to say that it's amazing. And it's fancy. It's not fancy. It's like, fancy's not the right word. It's just, I'm just used to these like very authentic Mexican places that are just down and dirty and like, you know, no thrills. These are more Americanized, and it's definitely they're great. You know, they make their own tortillas. Well, actually, no. Do they make their own tortillas? I think they do. There's another place that I've recommended that makes their own tortillas, but they've kind of lost me because they changed their menu recently. And the owner, who I liked a lot because I'd go in there, he changed the menu, and he made it so, I don't know what the word is, like foo-foo, that he kind of turned me off to the place. And he like had crab tacos, and they were like $24 for like 2 tacos. I was like, okay, you've lost me. This is crazy. And I've been eating out a lot because, you know, I'm moving, and not that that's a reason, but it's like I've got so many things going on. I'm just spending a fortune on eating out. So I've been trying to, like, every time I say I'm going to cook at home, it doesn't work out that way. Yeah, I agree with Little Stinker. New York City could use some good al pastor, but no one wants to sacrifice the kitchen space. That's a very good point. I think New York City overall could use some decent Mexican. It just doesn't exist unless there's some place that I just don't know about, which is very fair. But you know, I lived in the city for a long time. Mexican food's my favorite food. I just never came across great Mexican in the city itself. Queens, Brooklyn, Long Island, yes. Even even San Diego, Staten Island has some great Mexican, but not in the city itself. Yeah, birria is amazing. You can't get it in New York really, but yeah, that's another favorite when I go to San Diego. Yeah, I'd be so fucking fat if I lived out on the West Coast because that's all I'd be eating. Yeah, there's no Puerto Rican food here either, Chaz, which it is surprising. Yeah, George, Michigan is good for Mexican. I agree. And you know what's strange to me about Michigan is some really good food in Michigan, but what's strange to me is there's such a big Indian population in Michigan, but you can't get good Indian food there. I actually really like Indian food as well. It's not like Mexican where I could have it every day. Indian I could have like once every other month. It's very heavy. Um, but I love Indian food, and luckily out here there is really good Indian food. Um, Pockets of it. If you're a New Yorker, like Jackson Heights and Queens, Floral Park, and Hicksville, Long Island, are like hot spots of really good Indian restaurants. Um, but yeah, Michigan I thought would have some great ones, and I tried it there. It was just oof, it was not good. And I heard from people in Michigan that said the same thing. Like, yeah, we you can't find good Indian, good Arab food, but not good Indian food. Will I be here? So will I be visiting the Comedy Store in LA when I'm in LA? They have wonderful. Fuck no, I will not be going anywhere near the Comedy Store. That fucking dump. No, I want nothing to do with the comedy. Please, God, I can only imagine. No, I went nowhere, nowhere near the Comedy Store. Where do you go in Hicksville, Chaz? Because there's one place I go to. They're a little pricey, and I've actually taken out from them too, which is it's a bit of a trip for me. But let me see if I can find it on my. It starts with a D. Something. Let me get it. Never mind. I can find it. I'm gonna wrap up very shortly, so sorry for taking these detours. Um, oh yeah, it's called Diwan, Diwam, Diwan in Hicksville. Really, really good. Colombian hot dogs in Jackson Heights. Yeah, there's so many good things. Jackson Heights is a great, 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 great food district. I should paint Perry's name on the wall. If I ever got rich, like really rich, like rich enough to like buy the Comedy Store, I would want to buy the Comedy Store and then tear it down and watch all the comedians' faces that have their names written on the wall just to see their reactions because they all think that's such a great honor to have their names on that stupid dumpy wall. Oh, if your place is a little place, Chaz, you might think. Yeah, Dewan is the place I go to. If you have another place, yeah, fill it with sand. I would totally do that. Yeah, but they've got to be hurting. You got to figure the Comedy Store's got to be hurting right now because a big truckload of them went to Austin, for better or for worse. So I don't know. I don't know who's showing up there too, like looking for. I mean, ugh, it's got to be terrible. Yeah, did wasn't there a Photoshop of the Comedy Store filled with sand? Because there was a joke on Red Bar like about a year ago where they were filling the skate parks with sand. Harkening back to Perry, and somebody said it would be a great idea to fill the Comedy Store with sand to prevent comedians from going there. Mumbles, you've never had Indian? It's funny. I'll say this. I didn't have Indian until I was very late in life, and I had a similar attitude to you. I was intimidated by the dishes, and the smells and everything. And I think it wasn't until I was, shit, maybe 25. I was 25 years old. I was in Vegas with a bunch of friends. I was there to see a concert, and everybody wanted to go. You know, in Vegas, like, it's such a weird thing to select Indian, but there was a friend of mine who was British, was like, had a hankering for India, which is so weird because if you're in England, it's like it's great Indian everywhere. It's the best Indian food you'll ever have is in England. But anyway, they wanted to go to this Indian all-you-can-eat buffet, and I was like, shit. And it's like being one of those, when you're in like a group of people that all decide on one thing and you're the one dissension. And so I was, you know, I figured like I'll just go with them and I'll have like little things and then I'll eat later. And then, you know, my friend's wife at the time, you know, they were a little older than me, was very nurturing to me because she could see I wasn't that into it. You know, I wasn't thrilled about it. She's like, oh, do you is this okay with you? I'm like, well, thank you for somebody for asking. Like, well, I've never had Indian. And my mom was always like anti-ethnic food just because she didn't like spice or anything like that. Like Chinese was a treat for us. Like Chinese was fine. But anything outside of that, forget about it. Didn't have Mexican, didn't have Indian, didn't have Japanese, didn't have sushi. And so my friend's wife was like, okay, try this. You'll like this. Try butter chicken. Try tandoori chicken. Try naan bread. Try, you know, that. And she really gave me like a nice curated selection of Indian where I loved it. I mean, it was instant. It was just like an eye opener. Like, wow, this is a whole new genre of food I can explore. And I've always tried to try new things, but it's like Chinese, where, you know, you get locked into certain dishes you like. And I always get the same thing. I always get like butter chicken. Sometimes like a vindaloo or get really spicy or something. But I would recommend, if you haven't tried Indian, try it and get something simple like chicken tikka masala, which is called butter chicken. It's a very light curry. You can get it medium or mild. It's delicious. It's really good. You can get it with like naan bread. Oh, Chaz, the Indian spot you know in Hicksville is New Chili and Curry. I'll write that down. I'll try that. It's so you say it's good? Do you go there to eat or do you go there to take it out? Or probably Franklin Square is probably a bit of a trip to take it out. I'll write that down. Yeah, because it's going on a few months now since I've had Indian, and I've been kind of craving it lately. Naan bread is like eating indoor-outdoor flooring. Not if you get it at the right place. I understand you can get it bad. Wow, you went to Japan 9 times, Chad? Fuck. Yeah, I didn't try sushi until I was 19, and a friend of mine basically forced me to try it now. Yeah, that's a good... Chad says, start with a mild korma with Indian, and you won't be looking... Yeah, it's great. And Indian's a very heavy thing. You won't be reaching for it every day. But yeah, there used to be a place in Floral Park on Hillside Avenue, Chaz, I used to like, called Flavor of India. It was in the corner. But I think they've closed. Like they've changed ownership a couple of times, and it was my go-to spot. There's a place in the city I like too, near St. Mark's Place on like 8th Street, where they have all those Indian places. I think it's 8th Street. Or maybe it's 7th. Anyway, there's like a whole string of Indian places, and there's one place called Raj Mahal, and the owner was this guy named Raj, and he was like very eccentric, but he was always like, he was one of those owners that was always around, and like, you know, and my friends and I would always go there when we were in the city. That's another favorite spot. Yeah, Hillside Avenue and Floral Park, a lot of Indian, but some better than others. Oh, is Big Lebowski playing in LA? I've never seen that in the theater. That's one of those movies I saw years later, after it was already like a big cult thing, and I felt like I missed the boat on it. Bricks Lane in London. I mean, I bet. I've had so many good Indian in London and actually in Ireland too, and Scotland. Oh my God, the best Indian I ever had in my life was in Scotland. I wish I could think of the name of the place. It was in Glasgow. Um, the Wee Curry Shop was the name of it. The Wee Curry Shop in Glasgow. And there was a place in Birmingham, England, and they had a thing called I can't name the name of the place, but they were famous. They had this thing called table naan, and the naan bread fit the whole table, and you would just eat off the the table, like literally the whole bread. Like you get a table of like 5 people, whatever, and this bread would cover the whole table, and you just pick at the bread on the table and eat throughout the thing. It was amazing. It's amazing. It's really one of the only things I eat in the UK because, I'm not a big fan of their other food, but yeah, there's just amazing. And I hear Thai food's good there too, but I'm just not a Thai food fan because I'm not a peanut. I hate peanuts. I hate peanut butter. It's like with Perry with pickles. Peanut butter is like kryptonite to me. Oh, you lived in I've always wanted to go to Amy lived in Hong Kong for a year. I always wanted to go to Hong Kong. Yeah, it was very spongy, the table naan. It was very it was very thick, but it was hot. It was delicious, and you just literally just pick it off. It was so weird. It was like eating your tablecloth, and it's the only place I'll have to figure. I can't think of the name right now, but it was phenomenal. Just really one of the best Indian experiences I've ever had. And Indian was always better when I eat it in a restaurant, and I've taken it out a couple of times. It's never as good when you take out. But there's not a lot of Indian. Like there's pockets of Indian in New York. It's like there's not a lot. They're not everywhere. You got to go to it's like New Hyde Park's another hot spot. There's like a big Indian community, and you'll get some. I've never had Ethiopian food, but I'd be open to try it. Yeah, I can go for some. Yeah, that's the thing too. Like this time of night, it's so bad. Like these streams are so bad for me because I didn't really eat because I had a big meal last night, and actually went to Capitol Grill, which is like a steakhouse. You know, so I didn't have steak, but I had one of their burgers like from the bar, and they make these amazing burgers, and it's just so filling. And I basically eat one meal a day. At this point, it's almost like I do this intermittent fasting by default because I just eat one meal a day, whether it's breakfast, sometimes it's lunch, sometimes it's dinner, but it's one meal a day. And I was filled from that all day today. And now I'm at the point now where I'm basically starving, but it's so terrible to eat now before I go to bed. But yeah, I'm like, I was talking about this friggin' food. And then there's times where there's some times where it's late in the stream where Perry gets a late delivery, like where it's fillet of fish, whatever, and I'm like dying. I'm like, oh my god, I would fucking murder for that right now. Yeah, I agree, Amy. Capitol Grill is universally good, and it's a late discovery for me because I started going to the one in the city, in New York City on 42nd Street, and I meet a friend there because it was right near Grand Central Station, and we meet like after work. They do good cocktails. The bar staff's really good. The only thing I could say bad about Capitol Grill is they have no beer on tap. All their beers are like bottled or canned, and it's not a great selection. And I'm a beer drinker more than anything else, but I always get like a dirty martini. Great oysters, great everything, man. Fuck, I'm gonna get down this rabbit hole of food. Oh, and they have great lobster mac and cheese. The best lobster mac and cheese I've ever had has been at the Capitol Grill, because the mac and cheese is good, and the lobster they give you in there is like chunks of lobster. Like you get lobster mac and cheese somewhere else, it's like the lobster might have sneezed in it and like stepped through it because there's no trace of lobster. This one has thick cuts of lobster, and yeah, they're really good. Their steak is okay. I wish they don't have a porterhouse on the menu. Like they don't have a steak for two really. They have ribeye on the menu, which is good, but it like you can get better steak elsewhere. And again, Double Eagle, Del Frisco's Double Eagle is the best chain steakhouse I've ever been to. I should have some shop vac spaghetti. Yeah, like in fact, when you were shop vacking the spaghetti, I was like, and I'm not the biggest pasta fan, I'm not, but I was really hungry at the time. I was like, fuck, I could totally go for those. Even when he dropped that shitty looking pizza off at Trevor's, I was like, I don't know, I might dive into that fucking disgusting looking pizza. Yeah, that's a good call, Amy. Great happy appetite. You know, I treated myself to last summer, and it was overly indulgent. But they have that tower, that like seafood, that that like what do you call it, shellfish tower, where you get like, it's just like oysters, shrimp cocktail, lobster and crab, and it's like $120 or something like that on the menu. And I went in, I just like, fuck it, I'm ordering it, and it was not a bad decision. I get a Kettle One martini, extra dirty with extra olives, and the oysters or some kind of seafood thing, and then the burger there is phenomenal. I usually get the burger over this. They don't do the burger. I guess you can ask for it, but they only do the burger at the bar. But yeah, fuck. Now there's no option. I mean, there's no options here at 3 a.m. I'd have to eat something here. I'll probably have a bowl of cereal before I go to bed. Perry's eating the Popeye's fish sandwich. Yeah, he sold me on the fish sandwich too. I was like, I got it the next day. I couldn't stop thinking about it. I was like, yeah, I have to get it, and it was good, but it was, you got to be in the right mood for a fish sandwich, for a fast food fish sandwich. Oh, you know what I tried recently? Speaking of fast food, is I noticed Wendy's finally started offering breakfast. I don't know when they did it, maybe a year or two ago. And I passed by. I don't go to Wendy's that often, but I tried their breakfast and it was really good. Like I will recommend Wendy's breakfast. I had it last week, just randomly. I was like, I'm going to try it, and it was surprisingly good. But yeah, there's certain things, like, as disgusting as Perry is when he eats, there's certain things he gets that just hits me the right way. Like, I'll look at it and I'm like, oh, like that chicken parm last week. When he got that chicken parm, I was like, fuck, that chicken parm looks good. And I wanted it. I wanted it right now. I was like, God damn. And I could probably order. It's a pain in the ass, like, where I am. It'll be better when I move. And I'm not a delivery person. I have been in the past year more so, but I never did Uber Eats, and I never did DoorDash or any of those things, because I get kind of OCD about it, where I think like, ooh, my food is in a stranger's car, and I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I get kind of weird about it. I always and my dad was the same way when we were growing up. Like, we would always get pizza on like Friday nights, or like Chinese food on like Tuesday or whatever. It would rotate. But we'd order out a lot. We'd order out Italian because we're an Irish family. Don't ever tell an Italian that you order out Italian food. By the way, they'll kill you. Because I had an Italian girlfriend once, and we were like, it was like a Friday night, and I was like, oh, let's order Italian. Let's order like chicken parm, and she looked at me like she wanted to kill me. It's like, how dare you? Like, that's not something you order out. But yeah, my dad would always go pick it up, and I was just trained that way, and I still do now, except when you get real life things, if you got kids in your life, if you got shit going on, you don't have time to go get in your car and drive to go pick up food. So the delivery is an option. So maybe when I move, maybe I'll do that during the stream. But it's such a distraction that I don't want to fill. I don't want to. I don't know. I can afford myself very limited distractions on the stream, and I don't know if like eating and doing the stream, but it'll have to happen sometimes, because I just can't, especially these 8 o'clock start. And I'm a late eater by nature, but I don't know. I'll figure it out. But yeah, now I'm on a food track, and I would totally dig into a fillet of fish right now. I would dig into that quarter pounder he had tonight. I'd eat any of those pasta dishes he had tonight. I'd pass on the dog food, and by the way, I was very surprised that he did the dog food, and it was one of those things that I didn't want to push, because that's kind of on the cusp of being like mean, like, like, hey, you have to eat this dog. But when it got to a certain price point, I'm like, come on, dude, I know you could use this money. So, I was glad that he ate the portion that he did, but I didn't want to make it like I was pushing him to do it. Yeah, Chad, I saw the movie Fats, the Dom DeLuise Fatso. Again, I saw that on TV, like ABC, Channel 7, like in the early 80s. And I remember, the only thing I remember about the movie Fatso, which is obviously about this fat guy, played by Dom DeLuise, I remember him, there's this one scene where he eats everybody's Chinese food. He goes into the refrigerator and he basically, like, they're saved, for whatever, I don't remember all the beats of it, but there's all this Chinese food in the refrigerator, and obviously for the whole family, and he goes on this binge where he eats all their Chinese food, and then his mother catches him and she starts beating him up for being so fat and eating all their food. That's the only movie at that scene. And I remember, like, there's an early scene where he's a kid where he's eating like a chocolate bar at his, like, as an altar boy. Oh, was Fatso directed by Anne Bancroft? I had no idea. Yeah, I had this whole conversation. I keep meaning to post it on Patreon. Amy just reminded me. It was one of those phone calls where it wasn't like, there was nothing any like ha-has on it, but maybe it's interesting to people. We had a whole discussion about McDonald's and the different hacks you can do, and I mentioned, and I've talked about this to Robert many times, and our biggest complaint about the Big Mac is the bread to meat ratio is terrible. It's too much bread, not enough meat. So I think if you order a Big Mac, you got to go double patties. So you basically got to get 4 patties to balance out the bread to meat ratio. But on occasion, I've ordered the Big Mac with quarter pounder patties. So you get the quarter pounder patties on the Big Mac with the mac sauce and the cheese. And I don't get pickles. Not because I don't like pickles. I just don't like McDonald's pickles. And it's very good. But the double quarter pounder with cheese, if you get them to hack in some mac sauce, that's pretty damn good. Yeah, I'll never understand his freak out over the crawfish either. He's just, it depends on what mood you get him in. Okay. Chaz, it's been literally, I will say the last time I saw Fatso was on TV in prime time in like 1984 maybe, and maybe even earlier than that. So that's how long it's been. But I would totally watch that again because I remember liking it. I just remember liking the title. It's another good movie from that era, and I was just reminded of it recently. And it's a movie that I never hear anybody ever talking about. Yeah, you can ask me for movie recommendations, and it's such a New York movie, but it's a coming of age movie too, and it's also a Catholic movie. Have you guys ever seen the movie Heaven Can Wait? I think it's Kevin Dillon's first movie, and Patrick Dempsey is the star, and it's all these kids, and this, it takes place in like the 1960s, in like an all boys Catholic high school, and there's a lot of good Donald Sutherland's in it. There's a lot of good actors in that movie. But I was reminded of it recently and just how fucking good it is, and criminally underrated, like to the point where nobody knows about it. It's like, I guess you had to be of age when it was around. But it's such a good movie. If you're looking for a comedy, if you've never seen it, watch Heaven Can Wait. Really good. Yeah, I remember renting Heaven Can Wait on VHS, and I went to Catholic school. I went to an all boys Catholic high school. I was kicked out for fighting, but I was there until then. I wonder if something to do with Perry's being afraid you'd send him crates. I don't think so. I think Perry it's you understand? It's like the timing is everything, because he can be friendly. He can laugh off a comment about Randy Callahan 1 minute, and then the next stream he'll go crazy about it. And it's the timing. It's what's going on at the time, and that's why the mix of the tip comments is so important. It's like what phrase, and also it's the timing of the deliveries, because he can get an early delivery with that thing and make it his first delivery and he's fine, but if it comes late in the stream, he's like, I'm done with eating, don't say, then it's all timing with him. With some things he's always going to hate, no matter what. No, not Heaven Can. Sorry, Heaven Help Us. Sorry, it's late. Heaven Can Wait is the Charles Grodin movie with Warren Beatty. Sorry, Heaven Can Wait. Sorry, Heaven Help Us. Fuck, I'm getting confused with the Heaven. Highway to Heaven with Michael Landon. Yeah. Heaven Can Wait. Heaven Can Wait is also a very good movie. It's just very different. It's that's more mainstream. It's Heaven Help Us is what I was thinking of. It's after 3 a.m. here, so my brain isn't clicking. But Heaven Help Us is a great movie. Yeah, I realize now that me saying Heaven Can Wait is a movie that no one's heard of. Yeah, that's about as mainstream gets. But Heaven Help Us is the movie I was thinking of. Did he blow off an Amy comment? He does. But the thing is, he doesn't like. There's, by the way, there's two Amy's, right? At least, because you can tell, like, I always know real Amy is the one that has the car, and you just know it's coming. And then there's like other people that use, which I think is kind of lame, when other people jump on board somebody else's established character. But he doesn't recognize the car either, like, which is crazy because the chat will, like, oh, Amy's coming, here's Amy. He won't. Like, he doesn't understand it until, But I don't know if he blew off anytime. I just don't think he reacted as strongly as he would. But Amy is definitely a hot trigger for him, because he'll call me during the day about Amy. He'll call me, like, off hours, asking if we can put her in jail or something. Yeah, but your Amy also isn't. There's two cars, right? Like, there's another Amy that uses a different car. Oh, okay. You okay? Right. You switch. Okay, so the Shelby is also yours. Okay, but then there's an Amy that doesn't use any cars, and it just comes up, and that's the one I know. Is like, oh, that's not real Amy. It's like the Whitney thing. Like, there's one person that was doing Whitney, which was funny and good, and then, like, several other people jumped on and started using Whitney, and then it just got really annoying. And then I think also, it's almost like, think about it in like a creative sense. It's like especially with the Whitney thing, you're derailing somebody else's narrative. It's like, well, hang on a second. Like, somebody written says, like, oh, I hate you, you're an asshole, I just saw this, and you're a piece of shit, and you're this and that. Well, somebody else has been working that for a while, and now you're just trying to torpedo it. Now, of course, Perry being Perry, that's not going to affect him too much. But I think about that, in terms of just, like, creativity. It's like, wow, you're come up with your own thing. Yeah, didn't we talk about My Blue Heaven, Joey, last time? Yeah, My Blue Heaven's fine. Kind of I can kind of see it as being a sequel to Goodfellas, but it came out before Goodfellas. It came out the summer before Goodfellas. Came out summer 90, and Goodfellas came out fall 90. But yeah, it's more of a sequel to the book, Wise Guy. But yeah, again, I think I said this where I just think the movie, Steve Martin as the lead, is just completely miscast. I think Steve Martin should have played the FBI agent, and somebody else should have played the. I could see Bill Murray playing the. The mafia guy or something like that. I just think he, as much as I love Steve Martin, I think he really overplays it in that movie. But then again, it's another movie I haven't seen in a very long time. But Amy also comes in late too, so if he's, like, being dismissive, whatever, like, I think Amy coming in late, like, works well, and also sometimes you catch him when he's just kind of done. But I love Dan Dizak is my new favorite, because I just love the I just love, I love when anybody like does the precursor to what it's going to be. So you see the logo, like the Justice Scale logo, and then I think it's so fucking funny because it's such a great callback where Dizek is always just like, buy me lunch, like, hey Perry, buy me, let's talk about it over lunch tomorrow. Let's talk about you, and it's such a visceral thing because that's what that fucking guy did. The guy just used Perry to like get free lunches and stuff, and fuck yeah, I think Dizek's my new favorite. Like Dizek's just fucking great. I'm kind of half scared that the real Dizek is out there and he's gonna see it and he's gonna like sue us for like, false representation or something like that. Yeah, bumming rides is another one. Hey, can I have a ride to Santa Monica? Because all that stuff is true. That's what he would do. That's what Dizek would do. And when I first started working with Perry, he was still talking to the fucking guy. And it was a lot of work getting him off him, getting him away from him. Yeah, so fucking funny. And he reacts to it all the time. Like, you, you son of a bitch. I think the real Dizek, I don't know where he is now because he was in bad shape, like 7-8 years ago. Disbarred, but he was just he was bad news though. He was bad news. I spoke to him a couple of times on like 3-way calls. What about his computer tech? What was that guy's name? John was his name. He wasn't as evil as Dizek, but he was just kind of a sad sack who didn't have a lot going for him and had Perry to leech off of. And he the thing about this, it gets with all these people that were in Perry's life at one point or another, and the things that I really didn't like is like Perry was just surrounded by people that were taking advantage of him. And by the way, taking advantage of what? You're taking advantage of a guy that at the time was just living off disability, had a modicum of fame, but he was naive and gullible, obviously, and that's what I don't like. It's like it's one thing to have fun, but especially if it's doing good for Perry, like making him money, but these guys were just like blatantly ripping him off, and that guy John, his computer tech, was like charging him for, and I used to be a computer tech. I used to have my own computer business. My first small business was I had a small business where I serviced small businesses that couldn't afford their own IT department, and I'd basically be their IT department. I think I've talked about that before. So anyway, I know the business a little bit, and this guy was, but the business itself kind of fizzled out as more people became more computer savvy, as like places like Best Buy had like the Geek Squad, and like more big box places offered like computer repair or like maintenance or whatever, and also just computing just became more mainstream. And but this guy just had all this stuff locked on his computer, like admin, like if Perry wanted to install, like I would charge Perry to install free software, and then when I got wind of it, that was a hard transition to get rid of him, because Perry was so indoctrinated. Like, this is my computer tech. The only computer I have is built by John McLeod. That was his name, John McLeod. And then but then the guy fell on hard times and was living with Perry for a brief time, and that was weird. And then I think Perry finally saw the light and moved away. But yeah, he was just Dizek was one thing, because he just knew Perry would go along with anything, like with lawsuits and stuff. It was really, I don't know, it just really turns my stomach. And even Perry's own family members, some of them were like, just would take advantage, which again, I draw the line at. And then that guy Salvador was another leech, just a fucking bottom feeding loser, that was just trying to leech off Perry's fame to do his shitty documentaries. I don't even know if they ever came out or whatever came of them. Chaz, you want to fly out to LA and clean his apartment? Well, do me a favor, do that. If you can get that done by the last week of May, I'd appreciate it. I've tried to go in there and clean the apartment. Oh fuck! How am I gonna do this? How am I gonna do that? How am I gonna go into that apartment and do a stream from there? That's what it'd have to be. You'd have to, like, honestly, we'd have to pool money for like a cleaning service because it wouldn't be your average cleaning service. You'd have to clear out the apartment. Maybe move it to the pool area, whatever. Like, you get moving people to get the credenza out, all of his furniture out. I want to get him a real bed because he still sleeps on like a futon, but he likes it. I've suggested him, I'd like to buy you a bed, like a twin size bed or something like that. And he flat out he yells at me, I don't need a bed. But I'd like to do that. I'd like to get him a new couch. I'd like to get him a new TV. I'd really like to, once the channel starts, making money, and not that it doesn't now, but it mainly just goes to his bills and his debts and stuff. But I'd love to do all that stuff. I'd like to move him. Really, I've talked about that, but yeah, fuck, I don't know how to even begin. That carpet is so disgusting, and you'd have to get everything out of that apartment to even touch the carpet. The carpet's got, God, can you only imagine? He shop vacs it, but that rug's never been shampooed. It's like stepping on concrete when you're in there. It's just, I'm getting very, I'm getting agita just thinking about going there. I really am. Get him off that trash box. Like, yeah, that fucking trash box. Maybe we can find an actual trash can that's the same size. Yeah, that's true. Amy says, Perry's relationships are proof that it depends upon when you catch him. He'll go crazy about $3, but then if somehow talk to paying $500 for a rap song. Yeah, again, how did he pay? Yeah, I the rap song thing was before my time. I mean, but again, how does that guy live with himself? That guy Salva, how does he live with himself? How do you live with yourself ripping off a guy like Perry for $500? How do you sleep at night? $500. And $500, when what did he get from this? Like, at the time, he was getting like $2K a month if he was lucky, and he had to cover rent and everything else. I mean, goddamn, $500 for a rap song that wasn't even completed. Oh yeah, that carpet's totally trash, Joey. It's that carpet is unusable, and again, no video from Perry's really does it justice. Just how bad it is. And think about the food. Yeah, he's got that. By the way, that chicken's gonna be in that. That chicken's gonna be in that boot again for another few weeks at least. Now. Oh, cool! You finished your work. What's up, Joe Weed? Yeah, we're still out. We're wrapping up though. Think about the things. He's got the pickled egg in the Kirkland box, right? The chicken now is back in the boot. There's an egg in the credenza, which I don't think to this day has been found. It's in the bottom drawer, which I don't think gets a lot of access. There's an egg under. There's now several things under the couch cushion. It's funny because Belushi Sushi comes in on Fridays, and he always does this ceremonial thing on Fridays where Perry screams into the couch cushion, and Perry now complains about the smell. It's like, well, you're dealing with, now he's got a pickled egg under that cushion, which is definitely going to stay there. You got another egg under there from like a month ago, maybe longer. And then I don't know if there's another egg in the popcorn tin. I don't know if that was, shit. What do I do when I go in there? Do I look for these things, or do I leave it alone? What do I wear? Do I wear a mask? I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, if the rap song thing happened in my era, there's no way he would have ever sent that idiot $500. I don't know. See, but here's the deal: that $500, we're still talking about it, right? Like that $500 rap song is probably 10 years old now, and we're still talking about it. Maybe 9 years old. Like, so, is $500 worth the value of the joke, that not the joke, but like the laughs that you've gotten from it? Is it worth $500? Is it paid for itself over the past 9 years? Yeah, you gotta hand it to Faster Blade for getting him to put the to bring the $10 to put the chicken back in the boot. You gotta hand it to him. That's amazing. Yeah, and the Kamichi on the wall is still there. Does he not see it? Like, how do you not see that? It's not a big apartment. How do you not see that? Is it just now part of the landscape? See, but that's the thing. One of these days it's going to be gone, and he'll just say, "Oh, I caught it and threw it away." But wouldn't that be better to do it on the stream, and then do you bring it up to him? I mean, I don't want to bring it up to him. I don't think that's my place. But, yeah, you know. It's like when I remember seeing when the when the egg disappeared from the air conditioner at the top of the air conditioner a few weeks ago. Not a few weeks ago, it was like last week. And everybody was so disappointed, like to see the chat just moving so fast, like, oh no, the egg, where's the egg? Like people were so happy to see it every stream, like, oh, there's the egg. And then the one time it wasn't there was like depression about it because he found it, you know, and the fact that he didn't find it on the stream. I should put glitter in the shop vac hose and then turn it on. Yeah, I almost think he's desensitized to glitter at this point. Please throw out. I would love to throw out that grease chair. That's so disgusting. That chair. How many? Well, there was a lot. There was two in his hand. There was the one that was on the ceiling, and there was the one that he tossed behind. No, he tossed two behind him. So, yeah, it was a lot. A normal person who remembered running into Kamichi taped to their wall would have a different reaction than Perry. That is certainly true. Yeah, I think that grease chair is what he sits in to like chill out. Like he likes the grease chair more than he likes the couch. If Whitney can service one purpose, you'd like to think get him to take down the Justin Bieber photo. He's taking that down though. He almost sold it in the last auction, but it didn't get many bids, so he kept it. But he's taking it down. So here's the deal, Jill, about like me falling down on the grease chair and breaking it, or even bashing his microwave. I can't do that because then it's to a level of that's just cruel in a way. Like if you're watching, I always try to watch the stream. You know, think of the streams as somebody new watching it for the first time, and if there's this other person, you know, like destroying this other guy's property, and it's upsetting him, that it becomes a different thing. So he has to be willing. You know, it's almost like that whole trope about inviting a vampire into your house. You know, they can't do any damage to you unless you willingly invite them into your home. So that's like the whole thing of like the offers. If he accepts it, you know, he's like, oh, you're forcing me. No, you're not being forced. You're being paid to do a certain thing, and these are offers that you can accept or, you know, turn down. So, you know, as funny as it might be to see, you know, if I go in there with a baseball bat and start smashing up his microwave, it's you know, we might get some ha's out of it, but you know, at the overall grand scheme of things, it would be very mean spirited, and I don't like doing things that are mean spirited. I like the silly things, you know. I like the turning around the microwave stuff, and you know, if he ever bashed his, you know, and again, if the microwave ever got destroyed, it would be better to come at his hand than mine or somebody else. But yeah, the grease chair is disgusting. Faster Blade, I would love it if you would kiss Perry on the lips. What was up with you, Faster Blade? How sick were you? Because I feel like you've been gone for, I don't know. Like I feel it when some people aren't around. Like when the regulars aren't around, I definitely felt it that you weren't around. Because we weren't getting any offers from Faster Blade. Weren't getting, the comments weren't coming in. So I was really, I was actually going to email you. I was legit worried about you because I knew you said you were sick, and I'm glad to see that you're okay. So how bad was it that you were laid up for however long it was? Because your presence was definitely missed, for sure. I'm not just saying that. Has he finally accepted that he's not going to bone Justin's mom? I think he kind of forgot about that whole narrative, in a way. Yeah, Perry's got some. He's got some movie reviews in the can. I just haven't gotten around to posting them. He did Karate Kid Part 3, which completes the trilogy, but he filmed it vertically, which drives me crazy. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I put it together. I'll put it up on Patreon. He also, without telling me, he reviewed Apocalypse Now, and I didn't watch the review. I really couldn't watch it. I just put it together. I took all of his segments and I edited it together, but I didn't watch it beginning to end. It was an hour or so, and I just saw his last thing of the movie where he just looks at the camera. He's like, "That was Apocalypse Now. I don't get it." And that was it. That was the end of the review. But he apparently had a lot of other stuff during it, so I'll put that up too. There's a lot of things he sent me, like video wise, that I still haven't gone through. I want to vet some stuff before putting it up on Patreon. I just don't want to put up there willy nilly and just have it be crap. There's Jill. I know there's a way to get rid of that chair. We'll figure it out. I mean, you can tell him that. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know. My brain's like, oh wow, Faster Blade had the stomach flu from Wednesday to Monday. Wow, I've had that. Couldn't get out of bed until Sunday. Yeah, okay, so yeah, I thought it was something like that, man. I definitely just wasn't the same. Wasn't the same without you. Yeah, you did come through though, even when you were sick. Yeah, it's like there's just certain people. It's like Belushi Sushi isn't here. If Amy's not here, Faster Blade. There's like certain people. If they're not here, you feel it. It's like John Diaper is another one. He comes and goes. I think based on his schedule, but it's just you feel it. Hey Jay, what's up? Is some people just tuning in now? I feel bad if you're just tuning in now. I always feel bad as this is on his, I won't say his channel, but our channel. And you tune in to Perry Carroll Live and you're just looking at a car driving by and it's just me rambling. Sorry, I was just looking through some messages. Gregory Von Twinkle's writing me, telling me that Anne Bancroft was the last wife of Mel Brooks. That I know, but I didn't realize she directed Fatso. Oh, I saw this great. I'll probably close with this, but yeah, again, I watch a ton of YouTube, and it's pretty much all I watch lately, and I totally want to do this because it was a Conan O'Brien who was interviewing Mel Brooks. Speaking of Mel Brooks, and he's Mel Brooks is talking about Alfred Hitchcock, right? Which is a weird pairing, but I guess they went out to dinner together. Speaking of steakhouses, it was somewhere in L.A. So you got to figure this is somewhere in the 70s. And it's Mel Brooks and Alfred Hitchcock out to dinner together. What can what could that be like? But Mel Brooks was nervous eating with Alfred Hitchcock, and he's like, I couldn't even eat. I just ordered a salad. I was just so nervous, and he was talking about what Alfred Hitchcock was a large man, and he was just talking about what Alfred Hitchcock was ordering, but not in a way like fat shaming or making fun of him, but just as a matter of fact. He's like, oh, he starts out with this big shrimp cocktail platter where it's like big 12 giant shrimp cocktail. He's eating that. He's drinking, of course. And then he gets this big porterhouse steak and all the side, he gets asparagus on the side, mashed potatoes, polishes off the steak, polishes off the sides. Then he gets 2 dishes of ice cream, one vanilla, one chocolate. Eats the vanilla, eats the chocolate. And then he calls the waiter over, like he waves the waiter over with his fingers, who he knows. Obviously this is his local. He knows this place really well. And he says to the waiter, he goes, Charles, I'm still feeling a little peckish. Let's do it again. And he waves his finger like, circular, like, let's do it again. And Mel Brooks is like saying, oh my God, like what's going to happen? What does that mean? Let's do it again. And the waiter comes out and he brings another platter. He starts with the shrimp, another platter of 12 shrimp. Hitchcock takes it down, brings out a steak again, a new porterhouse, brings out, Hitchcock eats the steak. And then mashed potatoes, asparagus, and then 2 ice cream dishes. Finishes them all off. And then he takes out a big cigar and he lights it up. And he says to Mel, he's like, Mel Brooks, he's like, Melvin, my boy, indulge your passions because we only live once. I just thought that was such a great line. It's like, indulge your passions, we only live once. And I want to do that one time. I want to go to a really nice restaurant, have a appetizer, a full meal with sides, have dessert, and then go to the waiter and say, I'm still feeling another peckish. I'm still feeling a little peckish. Let's do it again. I want to do that. And yeah, speaking of a fat man sketch, if you guys ever look up another YouTube thing to look up is John Candy doing Orson Welles on SCTV is always great because it's always just, and I love Orson Welles, but he did such a, John Candy did a great like late life Orson Welles impression, and it was usually about food, which is fantastic. But yeah, I just thought that was such a great story. As far as like what YouTube channels, I mean, God, I subscribe to so many YouTube channels. I can't tell you. It's such a mixed bag. What I watch on YouTube, I mean, it's it's everything. I'll watch Dick Cavett interviewing Martin Scorsese in 1978, and then the next time I'll watch a Letterman clip with Chris Elliott. I'll watch a Carson clip. I just, it always changes. It always changes. And yes, Mumbles, yeah, I did. We were talking about bad sequels. I totally watched The Jerk, 2 TOO on YouTube, beginning to end, and enjoyed it thoroughly. I enjoyed it for how bad it was. Because again, I have a thing for bad comedy sequels, and it doesn't get any worse than The Jerk 2. Made for TV comedy sequel. That's a sequel. It's not a remake. It's a sequel. And that was great for sending that. It had to be recently uploaded. It was uploaded I remember looking at the upload date. It was uploaded in the past year because I remember looking for it a couple of years ago. I couldn't find it. Not only could I find it, couldn't find it. I barely find a mention of it. So I thought it's one of those things where you thought you were crazy, where you see something on TV as a kid and it's almost like you dreamed it because it's so long ago and there's just no proof that it ever existed. That's what like The Jerk 2 is. Yeah, Chris Elliott as Morton Downey Jr. is fantastic. That was like a good year run, I think. I don't know how many people know who Morton Downey Jr. is outside of like New York. He had this great local New York show where it was, he burnt out real fast, but I remember like late 80s, like 87 to 88, he was just dominant. And Chris Elliott did a great take on him. Chris Elliott had so many great characters. Am I the kind of guy that watches old clips firing line with William F. Buckley? Well, I certainly have. I don't know if I'm the kind of guy that watches that exclusively, but it's definitely come up in the algorithm. But yeah, like I'll watch like audiophile stuff, like audio reviews of like speakers or like amps, headphone stuff. I'm in the market to buy a new TV, so I've been looking at a lot of TV reviews. Um, yeah, just like old clips, um, interviews. I like interviews with celebrities that you never see interviewed, like from years ago, like Cary Grant interview, who was never really interviewed. And I saw a Cary Grant interview from like the early '70s, which was fascinating. Uh, so that's what YouTube's great for, and for all the things people say about YouTube and like censorship and everything like that, I love. It's the number one thing I watch because I don't have enough time. I don't watch net. I pay for Netflix. I pay for Hulu. I don't watch either one. Hardly ever. I can't remember the last time I watched Netflix. It was Jesus. I can't remember the last time I watched. I think I was gonna say Borat 2, but that was on Amazon. Um, but yeah, I watch YouTube almost exclusively, and I watch Pluto TV, which is a free app that just runs a bunch of stuff like 24 hours, like channels of like old sitcoms and like classic Prices Right, and I watch that. So yeah, my viewing, I've been doing so much lately that I don't have the headspace to get into like a drama, or like that's why I haven't really watched any movies lately. But YouTube's quick in and out. Like I can watch a 20-minute video. I watched a great Steven Spielberg interview with Dick Cavett from like 1981, right before Raiders of the Lost Ark came out. It was his new movie, hadn't come out yet, and he was just talking about the making of Jaws and Close Encounters and meeting, and he was still kind of like new in a way, and like that's the stuff I watch basically. And then sometimes old Stern clips. Maybe they'll come on and I'll watch some of that stuff. Yeah, Stuttering John with Morton Downey Jr. is classic Faster. That's one of my favorite things ever. Stuttering John can be, but I liked more. I remember watching his show. Like there was a group of us in school. We were in grammar school at the time, and you couldn't stay up till it was on late. The Morton Downey Jr. show was this thing. It was on Channel 9 here in like the New York area. It's based out of Jersey, and you look up Morton Downey Jr. show on YouTube. You'll get a sense of it. He was kind of like that guy. There was another guy in L.A., Wally George. I think Morton Downey Jr. basically ripped off Wally George, but you would. I didn't know any different, and he was. It just made me wish I could go to see if I can go back in time. And people say they can go back in time. They do all these great things in history, like witness the pyramids, everything. All my stuff is like within my lifetime, kind of. Like I'd want to go see the Ramones at CBGB's in 1977. Then I want to go see Star Wars when it first opened up. I'd like to see different things. One of the things I'd like to do is go see a live taping of the Morton Downey Jr. show in like the late '80s, like when it was on fire. Like that place was like a rock concert, and he'd have people like Reverend Al Sharpton on. And he just like and Morton Downey Jr. would come on like smoking. It was one of the last talk show guys that would just be unabashed about like smoking on camera. And at the time, like it was already like a no. Like even Carson had stopped by then, but he just didn't give a fuck. And you never knew if he was doing a character or not. But it didn't matter. He was just great. There was a documentary done a few years ago about the show. It was okay. But it kind of captured the essence. But go on YouTube and look up Morton Downey Jr. show, and so Chris Elliott from Letterman would do his own take on it, and then just a little interaction. How did you get Morton Downey's autograph, Chaz? When was that? What year was that? Amy, Red Bar. Yeah, Red Bar clips don't make it to my algorithm too much because I just listen to Red Bar. Like I download the MP3s from the site. I don't really watch them, but yeah, once in a while I'll get a Red Bar clip thing. Yeah, that's the thing. Okay, so Red Bar clips have fucked up your algorithm because now you're getting stuff like Logan Paul. Right, it doesn't understand that you hate Logan Paul. You just want to. Wait, so Elbow, you said you ran into TomB randomly in a YouTube comment? Oh, you ran into me in a YouTube comment the other day. What was the comment? Yeah, occasionally, if there's like a YouTube video, because mainly I watch it on TV, and you can't comment when you watch on TV, but if there's a really good like YouTube video or whatever, I'll take the time to write a comment, like on my phone or something. That's funny. Like that's really strange that you ran it across one of my comments. Oh wow, fuck, Chad, that's amazing. I remember that Morton Downey at the Apollo, and Roy just kicked out Sharpton on his ass. Yeah, I remember that. I think that's on YouTube. I think I watched that within the past couple of years. That's a good callback, Chaz. So you thought of Morton Downey Jr. when Perry was writing RC in his face, and yeah, right. So poor Morton Downey. Like, and it's another guy that just had a fall from grace. Like he had that show, and it was on fire for like, I don't think it lasted more than 2.5 years, maybe 3, and then he was just kind of flatlined for whatever reason. I thought that show could have lasted much longer. I don't know why, whether the audience got tired of him, or the channel did, or I don't know. But then, yeah, he was just trying to get some headlines, and he went into a bathroom. Was it at an airport or a train station or something? And he tried to draw he tried to make it look like he was being attacked by skinheads, and he had a swastika drawn on his face, but it was clearly drawn backwards, like he was looking in the mirror, and it's so embarrassing. Oh, I know. Yeah, okay. It was the Siskel and Ebert clip where I was complaining about before. Yeah, there's this one. I watch a lot of Siskel and Ebert on YouTube too, and there's this one channel that they have all these great old Siskel and Ebert clips, but he puts it in this like vintage TV animation, and the picture is so small, and it always bothered me. I watch it because there's no other versions of it, but like he basically makes the square image like super small on the screen, because he's making it look like you're watching it on a vintage TV, which I don't get why. So I think I wrote something like, "Hey, this I don't know why you're putting it in this weird format. That's strange." Yeah, but there's no. I know I get copyright. There's no copyright. There's nobody copywriting striking Siskel and Ebert. There's like nowadays it's like who even owns the rights to it? I think Ebert's wife owns the rights to it now, because and especially the ones he was showing, that was all on those shows were mostly from PBS before they were syndicated. So there's nobody out there's no, like, I understand, like, I lost my first YouTube channel because I used to have a YouTube channel where I would good night, Amy, and we're gonna wrap up soon. You're not missing much. Good night. um, like, I had a YouTube channel, like 10 plus years ago, and I would upload, I was pretty good at uploading stuff, and I would just do reviews. I would do like tech reviews and stuff, and but I also had like film stuff, like film clips and stuff on there. And at the time, YouTube was kind of like the Wild West. They didn't have the copyrights things they had in straight. And then all of a sudden, I got hit with all these. It's funny. One of the things I got hit for is a Jimmy Kimmel Live clip that I had, and ABC, Disney struck me twice for the same clip, because I had the same clip uploaded twice, I guess, by mistake or something. I forget the details of it, but I got hit twice by that, and then I lost my whole channel. I'm definitely sensitive to the copyright strikes, but I don't. There's certain things that are so old that nobody even cares. Like Windy City Heat is a good example. Windy City Heat's on YouTube. The only thing that gets struck for is the music, the actual legitimate music that's in there. Viacom doesn't give a shit about it. They'll never strike you because they don't even know. I don't even think they even know what the movie is. So yeah, Siskel and Ebert, like, I don't understand, like, what the like Saturday Night Live. I understand, like, if you see Saturday Night Live clips that are not from Saturday Night Live, those are rare beasts, because Saturday Night Live is aggressive about the copyright. So you'll see, like, they'll do tricks, like they'll reverse the image, to trick the algorithm, or they'll, like, they'll put it in a picture-in-picture or something like that. But there's other stuff on there. Like I was talking about Amos and Andy, the old show that's been, basically blacklisted for years by the NAACP and others for being, allegedly racist. But, I argue that it's not racist. It's very funny. But you can find it's hard to find. You can't find every episode because it's just they're hard to find, and they're not in the greatest quality, but they're all up there. And you would think Viacom would come down on that, but they don't. Yeah, Siskel and Ebert arguing about Baby's Day Out's great. I think there's some that are just really good. I came across some of the best ones is if you can look up Siskel and Ebert reviewing Cop and a Half with Burt Reynolds, and Ebert gave it thumbs up, and Siskel was like one of those like my favorite Siskel and Eberts are when like one of them they're definitely on opposite ends of a review, and when one of them gives a thumbs up or thumbs down, the other one is shocked, like oh my god, yeah, and that's one of the ones where it's a famous clip too. Is Siskel and Ebert. I actually saw one recently, and I'd never seen this before, where one of them gives their review and they give a tepid thumbs up. Siskel gives a review of a movie. The movie is Broken Arrow, very forgettable movie with John Travolta and Christian Slater. I think it was John Travolta's first movie post Pulp Fiction, like post his Renaissance boom, and it was a nothing movie. Anyway, so it's Broken Arrow, Christian Slater and John Travolta. It's like some military spy plane movie. I remember seeing it, but I can't remember any details about it. Anyway, they're reviewing the movie, and Siskel gives his review, and he's like, "Yeah, it's okay. It's got some good action sequences. It's got this going for it, so I give it a mild thumbs up." And then Ebert gives it thumbs down, and he tells all the reasons why it doesn't work. And then Siskel comes back and says, "You know what? This is the first time I've ever done this, but you've talked me into it. I'm turning my thumb down." He's like, "Based on your review, I'm going, you've turned my thumb the other way. You're right," which I thought was very big of Siskel, and I was always more of a Siskel guy because he actually, it was big enough to say, and they're so competitive, the two of them. That why they're so great is they're so competitive. But for him to give him that, and then Ebert was all proud. And then Siskel actually says to him, he's like, "All right, well, now I gave you that one. Now give me this. Please admit to me that Cop and a Half was a bad movie." And Ebert wouldn't do it. He stuck to his thumbs up, which I thought was funny. Hero, you grew up. How did you grow up with Amos and Andy? Was it like was it on regular TV when you were growing up? Because I never saw it on TV. Like it was on. You know what? It's not true. It used to be on Channel 11 here in New York, WPIX in the afternoons. Like it was in syndication in like the 70s and very early 80s until it was like, then there was something where it was just like totally banned. But goddamn, it was such a good, it's so fun. I've said this before. I think Jackie Gleason really borrowed heavily from it in developing The Honeymooners, because it's just so advanced and such good laughs, like really, really big laughs. Oh, you had the radio shows. Okay, the radio shows. Right. Yeah, obviously Amos and Andy was a long-standing radio show before it was a TV show. I don't know much about it. I've heard the radio show, but the TV show is where, to me, where the biggest laughs come from. Joey, whatever happened to Nick Shadursky, bodyguard manager? He's still around. He actually sent me a really nice message recently. Nick did. That he was really happy to see Perry doing well, and I hadn't heard from him in a while. So he's still out there. He's still around. Yeah, Bill Cosby buried Little Rascals, but you can still see Little Rascals, right? Is that? Actually, now that I'm saying that, I don't know. Can you see Little Rascals? I didn't get. I mean, I grew up with Little Rascals. It was always on TV growing up. John, you actually know about Broken Arrow and its trial scene? I don't remember a single thing from Broken Arrow. Yes, Chaz. Gene Siskel's number one favorite movie is Saturday Night Fever, and he owns the suit. Right? Oh, yeah, Mumbles beat me to it. Yeah, he bought the suit, yeah. I always thought that was weird. Yeah, Chaz, I actually played PIX. I actually got to do it once. PIX had PIX after school, where you would play this Asteroids game, I think. And yeah, I got you. You'd have to send in your phone number, and they'd call you, and I actually was on. I don't have any recording of it, unfortunately, but I was on Pix. It was like right after the Magic Garden, on one day, and I'm gonna guess the year is maybe 1982, maybe. But I was on. Yeah, I was on. So WPIX was a local syndicated, not syndicated. It was just a local New York channel. Now it's like a. God, I don't even know what they call it anymore. Is it WB still, like, or whatever that is? But anyway, it was a regular. It was a local New York channel, and they do this video game thing where you'd have to. The kids would say the word "Pix," which is the call sign of the station, PIX, and you'd have to time it where you blow up like an asteroid. And I don't know how it worked. You just say "Pix, Pix, Pix," and this little missile that said WPIX would shoot these asteroids. And I didn't. They send you like a consolation thing. If you win, you get like a gift certificate to somewhere. I didn't win, and I got like I got some I got some PIX swag. They sent me. I remember getting like a T-shirt. I wish I still had it. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's any. I don't know if there's any way to win that game. You can look it up on. It's another thing to look up on YouTube. There's Pix on YouTube. Jackie Gleason also borrowed from the bottle right before it shows. Yeah, well, that might be true. The thing about the Honeymooners is like, Gleason notoriously didn't like to rehearse, like to keep it fresh, which I know annoyed the other cast members. But there's little signals, like, in like the years after, like Art Carney used to talk about this when if you watch old episodes, whenever you see Gleason patting his stomach, like whenever he's like putting his hands on his stomach, he forgot his line, and he's looking for that was his signal to anybody else in the cast that to move on, and to fill time until he remembered his line. And there's a couple of times where I watch it now and I see him patting his stomach where he's thinking, and it's like, oh he forgot his line, and then then there's a little improv line, and then he cycles back to it and he gets it, which is great. Mumbles, if I like classic Letterman, Don Giller on YouTube is a phenomenal source of Letterman. Yeah, I think I subscribe to him. Yeah, I think I subscribe to him because that's the gift of YouTube, is these people that taped all these archives, like upload it. And I was like last month I was on a Chris Elliott binge with Letterman, and I think I went through all of them, even skits I forgot about. The other thing I watched on YouTube too was this show I couldn't stay up to watch it at the time, but the Later with Bob Costas show, they came on after Letterman. Now eventually like Greg Kinnear hosted that show, and I think Carson Daly, of course, but Bob Costas was a legit great interviewer, and he had really, really good guests on. So I watched like old, like Later with Bob Costas from like the late 80s, early 90s. Those are really, really good. Like he and what made me think of that is he had a great interview with Chris Elliott right as he was about to do Get a Life, and he was talking about how he got started with Letterman, which was fascinating, and then how he decided to leave Letterman to do the sitcom, and I think he might actually been in the middle of doing this first season of Get a Life when the interview happened. It was great. Have you ever watched It's a Mad, 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 Mad World? Yes, of course. Yeah, it's a classic. It's a movie. It's better for its cast than its actual content. It's not a great movie, but it's a movie that you have to watch because just of the cast. Like, think of all the people that are in that. But and then there's all these different versions. There's like long versions, short versions, roadshow versions. It's just. I haven't seen it in a long time. It's a movie that everybody should see once. And Chad, did they ever remaster? Did they ever was Little Rascals ever mastered in like HD, or is it just standard def? Because I remember the transfers were always bad. No, I don't remember that. Broken Arrow. You don't remember the showdown? Travolta and Slater, where Travolta gets impaled by a nuclear warhead and then explodes. No, I honestly don't remember. You know how I saw Broken Arrow? I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it on Laserdisc. I rented it on Laserdisc. I had a Laserdisc player. That's how I saw it. And it was one of those movies. Sometimes you see a movie, whether it's at home or in a theater, and it stays with you for days. And then there's other movies that like you forget about it the second the movie's over. Like, and that was one of those movies. It's completely went out of my head. Yeah, there was dog food tonight, and Perry might have eaten some. You can quote the entire Honeymooners. Yeah, well, the entire Honeymoon is only 39 episodes, which is a problem. And I'm very frustrated that when I see that's another thing. I like old Jackie Gleason interviews where he talks about not wanting to do the Honeymooners anymore because CBS wanted him to do another season, and they got renewed, easily renewed for another season, and he just said he was out of ideas for it, which I think is bullshit. I just think he was, wanting to get paid more or whatever, and then he did that Jackie Gleason variety show, which from Miami, and then they would occasionally do Honeymooner sketches, but it just was never the same. Even the Lost episodes, which the quote unquote Lost episodes that came out in the 80s, they were just old sketches pre Honeymooners that he did on his older variety show. They just were never as good. But the classic 39 are where it's at. There's not a bad one in the bunch. I actually met somebody, and it's like my age, and we talked about TV, and I was like, and he grew up in New York, and he never saw the Honeymooners. I was like, how did that even work? Did you grow up in a cave? Like anybody who grew up in New York, I mean, and I would imagine the rest of the country similar, where it was always on. It's something. It's like Channel 11 here in New York ran Honeymooners, and it still does. They don't. It's not in its original spot, but on Saturdays they run it. And I'll occasionally watch it, just because. And I'll always watch it too on the New Year's Eve. There's always that tricky option where on New Year's. Well, now New Year's Eve I'll be doing this probably for the next few years. But New Year's Eve was always a conflict where do I watch the Twilight Zone marathon on Sci-Fi Channel or the Honeymooners marathon on Channel 11? And then recently, TV 55, which is a Long Island channel, but it's on, if you have cable, it was on. I don't have cable right now, so it's on it. But they would start doing an Odd Couple marathon, which is a great idea. So it would be a huge conflict. Yeah, of course. I hear. Yeah, I saw Cabin Boy when it came out. Awful movie. Really disappointing. I think I don't know what Chris Elliott really did after Cabin Boy. It was just not. It was not good. Oh yeah, same here, Mumbles. Like getting into Chris Elliott got me into Bob and Ray as well. His dad, Bob and Ray, classic Bob and Ray is great, and that's why I feel like an old man, because all my comedy sensibilities are from the past. Like there's nothing bad. Yeah, I mentioned Going in Style a little while ago, Chaz, with Art Carney and George Burns, and who's the third? I forget who's the third guy. Who's the third guy in Going in Style? It's Art Carney, George Burns, and the guy from the guy from The Godfather 2, the big acting guy. I can't think of his name. I don't know why it's escaping me. But that's a great movie. Like three old men that decide to rob a bank. And again, they did a remake of it a few years ago, which is terrible. Tim Gleason said that at the end of the series, Gleason and Audrey Meadows would sit down together and drink and try to figure out what to do. They were winging it at the end. Yeah, maybe, but their winging it was better than anybody else's. Crafting it or writing it. It's just because you think about there's classic TV from that era. There's I Love Lucy, The Honeymooners, a handful of others. But think about all the other shit that was on TV at the same time that no one ever talks about now. They just didn't stand the test of time. But this does. Yeah, I mean, Honeymooners is funny. It was funny in 1955. It was funny in 1985. It's funny now. It'll be funny after we're all gone. It'll be funny 30 years from now. It'll be funny 60 years from now. It's just funny. It's timeless. Yeah, Lee Strasberg, I think he was the third guy in Going in Style. think. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I haven't seen that in a while, but it's a good movie. It's the same director as the guy who direct Martin Brest, same director as Midnight Run. It's his first movie, and he was young. He was in his 20s, and he's directing. Lee Strasberg. He's directing Art Carney and George Burns. And again, it's these three guys that decide to rob a bank. Three old men that decide to rob it. And Art Carney is not that old in the movie, but he just looks old. And it's great. It's a great. It's a really good '70s movie. It's a good comedy. It's got some heart to it. You can if you look at Going in Style, you can kind of see how he was the guy that did Midnight Run, because it's got a lot of the same aspects that Midnight Run has, where it's got, good character development, good heart to the story, good emotional moments that kind of grab you, and then it's got style. It's got style to it. So I forget who was asking me for movie reviews, but all my movie reviews are going to be in the past. I have no current movies. Oh, he did. Did Martin Brest do Meet Joe Black? I didn't know that. Wow, that's three. I've never seen Meet Joe Black. That's three. Three movies brought up. It's funny. I don't know what happened. Like he doesn't seem to direct anymore. I can't remember the last time I saw a film directed by him. I know he did Scent of a Woman and Beverly Hills Cop, which are two. Oh, you know what else he did was really good? Spies Like Us. Spies Like Us is another. Chevy Chase and Dan Aykroyd did Spies Like Us is great. But I don't know. He kind of just fell off the. Some of these guys just go mad, or they go. Oh no, he didn't direct Spies Like Us. Sorry, I'm thinking of Frank Oz. Again, my brain's getting fried. You can't trust anything I say from this point out, because I'm verging with other. He actually looks like Frank Oz. I'm verging with other people. Yeah, that's right. Perry said that he would cast Dan Aykroyd as me, which I don't know. It looks nothing like me, but he's a handsome man. He's definitely put on some heft in his later years. But I like Dan Aykroyd. But yeah, that's what I can't stand about him. It's like sometimes with Perry, it's like he doesn't, like he just bails out, like I can't think. He doesn't give an answer, and sometimes there's legitimate questions that I would like to hear an answer to. But he doesn't give it. I was looking at Martin Brest on IMDb just now, just so I'm not going crazy. So yeah, he does Going in Style, and then his next movie is Beverly Hills Cop, which is 5 years later in '84, and then he does Midnight Run in '88, and then Scent of a Woman, and then that's '92. He does Meet Joe Black in 1998, and then just Giggly, that horrible Ben Affleck Jennifer Lopez movie, which I've never seen. That's 2003. He hasn't done anything since. Yeah, okay, so I guess, boy, some people end on a bad note. Wow, that's rough. Jesus. Oh, Robert just sent me a picture of his new TV. That looks great. But yeah, it's like there was some other director I was thinking about too that like had directed a couple of great movies in like the '80s and then just disappeared. It's like, wow, what happened? What happened to these people? Where'd they go? But yeah, that'd be yeah. So to cycle back to I don't know. I want to get that term out of. I keep saying cycle back on this stream because I'm always talking about offer. I go, we'll cycle back to that. But getting back to Charles Grodin. That's where we kind of started this whole conversation. Is like, yeah, give the man some props and look him up on YouTube. His interviews on the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, as well as early Letterman, is fantastic. Brest was hired to direct War Games. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh fuck, I didn't know that. He was fired during production and hired with John. That's interesting. I didn't know that about War Games. I'm usually pretty up on that stuff. I'm always interested in like directors who get fired like midway and then somebody else takes over. But anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap it up here. About 8 hours and 20 minutes in. So thanks for hanging out. I hadn't done a long one of these in a while. And tomorrow's one of the first days I don't have to get up early to take my dad to the doctor or do something else, or get a shot or anything like that. So, and I wasn't remotely tired until the last 20 minutes. So I figured I'd stay on. And plus, it was so great to see the Faster Blade again. I wanted to hang out. But I know this is very boring, this whole format for the after hours streams, and I'm going to tell you that I'm going to work on making it more interesting. I'll get a camera once I move, because I can't do anything now. Once I move and get settled in, I'll get a camera. We'll do calls and shit like that. And, we'll make it fun. It won't be just me reading the comments and stuff. I know that can be a little boring. And I know, Chaz, you say I just look at it from an angle of somebody watching this. I feel sometimes that, like, how is anybody staying tuned for this? Maybe they can't sleep or something. But I'll bring that to click for you right now. Yeah, so I got this mouse that I've been using. Yeah, this is my clicky mouse here. Let me see if you can hear. I moved the mic to another direction. That's the clicky mouse. Yeah, this is a mouse I use most of the time. I only use the other mouse for the streams. I think it works for the streams. Yeah, I'll look at the email. This thing is, I'm just getting so slammed emails, like with like real world stuff. Like, I'm still dealing with this Ireland situation where I spoke about last month, where I'm helping my friend's aunt who passed away, and I got a petition to this court to get access to her apartment. It's all this stuff. So basically, my friend's aunt passed away, who lived in New York, but they live in Ireland, and I had I already took care of, like, the body and had a cremation and everything, and paid for all that. Now I got to petition the court to get access to the apartment, which is, time is of the essence, and it's just taking forever. So I've been doing, and that, so I'm getting a lot of emails at that, and then I don't know, I've been absolute shit with getting back to emails, and I know a lot of people have emailed me, with people who want to help with the streams and stuff like that. So I'll definitely get to that. I'll tell you what, if I don't answer by tomorrow, just send me the email again. Because I used to credit myself with my memory, and just I'd have all my, I would never write to-do lists. I'd be like, okay, well, I know in my head I have to do this tomorrow. I know I have to write this person back. I know I have to do this. I know I have to do that. And that's not the case anymore. I mean, maybe it's because of these streams and all the other things going on. I just don't have that organization, those skills anymore. And arrogantly, I've not resorted to taking notes. So I know I have to get back to certain people, and I just haven't been able to do it. Chess, no, I'm moving after LA. I'm moving in late June. Oh, if you fell asleep when Perry was taping eggs to his shirt, you missed some stuff. I mean, it wasn't, I don't think this was an off the chart, like, this wasn't the Microwave on Fire type stream, but it was definitely, there was some thing, there was some things, there was dog food involved. There was a lot of shop vac stuff. There was a lot of things that happened. I think this was a good. This is a good middle of the road show, as they said, middle of the road, not high water mark, not low water mark, but middle of the road with some good bumps. You know, it's very 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 good Wednesday stream, I think. But yeah. Yeah, I think it's an age thing. Yeah, it's an age thing. But my memory used to be so good. Like even just saying just now, it bothers me that I said Martin Brest directed Spies Like Us. Of course he didn't direct Spies Like Us. Why did I have that in my brain? It's insane. And then the other thing about saying, talking about Heaven Help Us and calling it Heaven Can Wait. Although I do credit that with Charles Grodin, because I think I had Charles Grodin on the brain and Heaven Can Wait on the brain. So Heaven Help Us, and both said Heaven, but I get really upset with that. So yeah, his PC is custom. Oh no, I did get your email. Yeah. It's like, that's the thing. I've seen a lot of those cards in computers. Like, you can buy a full system and then you just rip out the card. I don't want to do that. I don't want to spend the money on a full system and rip out the card. And then what do you do with the computer? Do you sell it off? Yeah, I'm sorry. I did see the email and I thought I responded to it, but. Yeah, I don't want to have to buy a whole new computer just to get the friggin' video card out. So and it's not for him, it's for me, because I'm the one who runs the stream, obviously. Because imagine if Perry was still up, he'd be bitching and moaning that we were still, he was getting mad that we were still talking in the stream. It comes to a certain point where I don't want to intrude on his off time. But yeah, I saw that and it was like, shit. I know. Yeah, I've seen that a couple of times. If you want a good video card, you got to buy a complete system, and I don't want to do that. But I'll write you back, because I just get so absent-minded. It's just old age, I guess. Although I don't feel my age. I don't feel mid-40s. I still feel like late 20s, early 30s. So Chad, you joined Facebook. Is it just to join the Perry Caravello Live group? I know a lot of people are so anti-Facebook, but I feel there's some even if you just create a phony account just to join the community, it's worth it. I mean, I don't use Facebook outside of the few groups that I belong to. I never look at my timeline. Ever. Once in a while I'll glance to see whose birthday it is. That's about it. Yeah, it's funny, Mumbles, that I please tell me how that autobiography is, because that Carson interview I talked about earlier, where Grodin is on promoting Taking Care of Business. And he's a total dick to Johnny. In fact, I think the title of the video is like Carson, I forget, like Carson almost gets a little annoyed with him, but he's so playful with it. But anyway, one of the things he's promoting on that show is the paperback version of his book, and that was the book. It would be so nice if you weren't here. And it's one of those books that I wish, all these books that came out and like really any book that came out, previous to the past like 20 years or so, you wish there was an audiobook version of it, like with Grodin reading it, It was like, but that's like too early. There's a great Gleason book that came out, a great Gleason autobiography that I read, but it's came out in like 92. It's long out of print. I had to buy it off eBay. But it's a great book, and it's not available on ebook, not available on audiobook. And I've done voiceover work and done some audiobooks, and I've always submitted to like publishers and stuff, like, wow, there's these great books that are out of print, like written, and it's those kind of books. I don't read anything lately, but I don't read fiction books. I read like autobiographies of like, if Paul Lynde ever had an autobiography, I'd read that in a second. But I'm really interested in that Grodin book, so if you could tell me how it is, I would appreciate it. In fact, if you can just read it and record it and do an audiobook version just for me, like you reading it, that would be even better because I don't have time to read. Yeah, why aren't you popular with Chicago police, Jack? Yeah, everybody should watch Midnight Run this week, within the next week or so. I think you have a certain grace period when a big celebrity passes away. You have about a week to honor them by watching their stuff. And really, with Grodin, I think it really comes down. It really comes down to Midnight Run first and foremost. If you want to add on anything else, then that's fine. But you really got to watch Midnight Run. I I think I've said this before. I forget where I said this. I'll make this the last thing, but that whole end scene in Midnight Run in the airport that's in Vegas, and I was in Vegas. I was in Vegas airport, and a friend of mine, and I told him to go up on the second level there, and to take a picture. And he goes up to take the picture, and I just started yelling out, "Serrano's got the discs! Serrano's got the discs! Serrano's got the discs!" And he started laughing, and everybody else was looking at me like I was a crazy person. And then there was a person at the Delta gate, whatever, and he said to me you're not the first person to do that. So I thought I was being original by yelling that out in the Vegas airport. But apparently that's been done over the years quite a few times. But yeah, one of the greatest movies ever made, Midnight Run. They don't, and to say they don't make them like that anymore is a vast understatement. Can you imagine if that was remade today? Will Ferrell might be the Charles Grodin character with whoever else. Yeah, who would you cast in it? You can just cringe out by thinking of who would be in the Midnight Run. It's going to happen eventually. They're eventually going to remake it, and it's going to be horrible. Maybe it'll be an all-female cast. Yeah, Mark Wahlberg maybe. Ugh. I'll watch. You know what? I'll watch Clifford. Out of respect to Grodin, I'll watch Clifford. I also like Grodin does a small appearance in the Ivan Reitman movie Dave with Kevin Kline, where he's the one where he plays an impersonator of the president, and then the president has a stroke, and he fills in as the president because he looks exactly like him and sounds exactly like him, and Grodin plays his accountant friend. And there's a great scene where he comes in to balance the budget, which is really it's another movie that's kind of it's a favorite movie of mine. Not a favorite. I table that. It's not a favorite movie of mine, but it's a movie that whenever it's on TV, I'll watch it. It's a fun movie. Yeah, Kevin Kline is a big Perry fan. I don't think he knows about Perry Caravello Alive, but him and Phoebe Cates were big Windy City Heat fans. But anyway, there's a great scene in that movie I always think about where he's playing the president. He's not really the president, but he's filling in as the president, and he goes to the White House kitchen in the middle of the night and makes this really badass sandwich. And I've always wanted that. He's got all this food at his disposal. It's like the kitchen inside the White House. So you figure they have all the accoutrements, and he makes this amazing sandwich. And I've always wanted that sandwich. I've always wanted to have that kitchen where I can make that sandwich in the middle of the night. Yeah. Also, Sigourney Weaver, and Sigourney Weaver's great in it. It's a great movie. And also, it's got what's his name? The guy who Ving Rhames is his one of his first movies. He's got a small part in it as his. Secret Service guy. He's really good in it too. And who else? Who's the Frank Langella is really good in it. It's a good movie. Yeah. The more I'm talking about it, the more it's better. It's better than I thought it was. In my head, it's one of the good. Ivan Reitman is hit or miss for me, but that's one of his better movies. It's like the briefcase in Pulp Fiction. What do I think was in there? I think it's something that's not in our world. I think it's something that is instantly recognizable in the universe that Pulp Fiction is based in. It's not something that we know about. It's definitely some famous artifact, like some kind of like, you know, like let's say the Ark of the Covenant would be, but or you know, or like you know, it's something fictional. It's something that like is maybe from medieval time. It's something that glows. It's something gold. It's like a it's something that belongs in a museum. That's clearly not. It's in the hands of these underworld people. But I don't think it's something that is tangible in our universe. It's not something that there's no historical significance to it of anything we know. I think it's instantly recognizable to anybody in that like literally anybody. If you go to the diner and you show it to a random stranger in the diner scene, they would know what it is. Like, oh my God, that is the blah blah blah. That is the the gold chiseled whatever. But I think it's fictional. I think it's a fictional thing. But yeah, but if you get caught up in thinking about what it really is, it's you're missing the point because there's no real reason to it, and because I don't think I don't think it was written as anything as anything what it was. But yeah, it's a 40-watt bulb. Yeah, but I always thought of it as something otherworldly that exists in the fiction of that universe, but not anything like some people say it's like some kind of piece of art or something like that. It's not art, but it's something. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna call it a night for reals. Yeah, MacGuffin is a good term. It's a Hitchcock term. But thanks for hanging out after hours, and I'll see you on Friday. Heads up, I might be a little late on Friday. I don't think so, but my sister's flying in for the weekend, and I got to pick her up at the airport, drop her at my parents', and then come home to do the stream. And she's flying in at like 7. She's landing at like 7:30. It's gonna be cutting it close. So if Friday starts 30 minutes late, which it probably won't, but if it does, don't give him a hard time. Give me a hard time because it'll be my fault. But I promised my dad that I'd pick her up because I don't want him doing it. So, and I don't want her taking an Uber either. So that'll be the only hitch is Friday. Might start a little late, but it might not. I might be okay. It'll depend on it'll depend on variables outside of my control. No, I the way I look at it, this Chaz, I don't want to take an Uber because I feel if somebody's flying in to see you, like family or somebody close to you, I think they're owed a pickup. If you can handle it, I think they're owed a pickup. TomB, you still deserve a John Cena theme on this day. Well, we'll get working on that. I want heel John Cena though. I don't want the face John Cena. I always like the nasty John Cena when he first came around. By the way, John Cena's pretty much retired, right? He's just not around anymore. I don't really follow wrestling. I always came in and out of wrestling. I was big into wrestling in the 80s, kind of into wrestling in the 90s, and then in 2000s I was like in and out. Like I'd come in and then come out, and then nowadays I don't follow it at all. But I'm always curious to people that still do, like who's still in it, who's still wrestling, and who's not. Favorite '80s wrestler is Hulk Hogan. It's a silly mainstream answer. I mean, it's Roddy Piper. Piper is probably my favorite person in all of wrestling, but it was Hogan that really got me excited. Like Hogan, I know a lot of people don't like Hogan, but man, there was just nothing more exciting than I don't know. Hogan just did it for me. You know, his whole, and he ruined it for me too. Like later years when he did that stupid reality show, and he just came on. I think we talked about that, where he just kind of, I think he kind of damaged his reputation, as a lot of people did when they did any kind of thing. But I was just fucking crazy. I was crazy about Hogan, and I loved. But I'll tell you the best. My favorite wrestling match that I ever saw. You know, I'm on TV. It was WrestleMania 3. Still to this day was Randy Savage versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, the Intercontinental match. It's still. I remember watching that live when it was on, and it's still one of the best. Yeah, because I knew Hogan was theater. I knew, you know, and that's what I liked about it. It was just theater. It was like his, and still him slamming Andre is one of the best moments ever in sports. I won't even say sports entertainment, in sports, because he actually lifted him up. Hogan slamming Andre the Giant was fucking incredible. I'll never forget watching WrestleMania 3 live, but watching that Steamboat Savage match, that really made me appreciate the art of actual separating the theater from the actual technical guys. But you can't deny what Hogan did for the industry, for the business. You know, and he might have been, you know, a weird guy or whatever, but you know, and Piper was certainly fantastic, you know, phenomenal. But man, it's like, but when you look at that, yeah, Randy, it made me really, WrestleMania 3, you know, Randy Savage was on my radar before WrestleMania 3, but that really made me appreciate Randy Savage, just, you know, because he was the character, and he did, you know, the, oh yeah, and let me tell you something, Mean Gene, but he was fucking incredible to watch, really great, really great. You know, Hogan not so much. Hogan was more like the superstar, you know, and even as a kid, you kind of knew what it was. But great stuff. Great time to be a wrestling fan. But anyway, I'm out the door. I got to cut this off. I got to get to bed, and so do you guys. So good night. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you on Friday. Maybe we'll do this on Friday. I don't know. We'll see. It's always, you never know. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I agree with that. Steamboat and Savage upstaged anybody on that card that night. There was no, I mean, fuck. You know, it was even, I like the Adonis Piper match too, but Savage and Steamboat, there was just nothing better than that. Nothing better. Anyway, good night, guys. Mumbles, let me know how that Grodin book is. Seriously, let me know how it is. I really, really am curious to read it. I'm reading a book now on Cary Grant, like a authorized biography. I'm listening to it. I shouldn't say reading it. I hate when people say they're reading a book and they're listening to it, but I'm listening to that. Where are you that it's 10:30 in the morning? France or something? Anyway, I'm not going to hang around for that answer. I'll see you guys on Friday. Have a great night. Thanks for hanging out. As I always say, I really appreciate this community, and I'm really glad to have all you guys here and supporting the channel. And really glad to have Faster Blade back. I'm glad you're all healed up, and thanks as always for your generosity and support of the channel. Everybody missed Faster Blade when he was not here. You were missed. Oh, Belgium. Okay, I knew it was mainland Europe. Belgium. I always wanted to go to Belgium. Faster Blade. I knew Faster Blade was still here. All right. I'll talk to you guys on Friday. Good night.